Hey guys, tonight we wander through a Gaelic market, thick with peat smoke and haggling cooks. Your boots crunch over gravel, each stall piled with dented kettles and fox-belt rugs. A wool vendor watches his apron, stained with last century's sweat. Breathe deep, that's cinnamon dust and damp wool molding in your throat. Real talk, rotted textiles breed microbes fiercer than Viking axes, so you probably won't survive this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Where's your couch tonight? Drop a comment with your city and local time. I'll whisper a market dirge for each time zone. Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Dublin's winter bites, raw knuckles breath fogging the air. But the real chill crawls up your sleeve as you touch the merchant's stall. Rotten velvet drapes, moth-chewed edges fluttering like dead butterflies. Hide lumps his hands won't name. Your fingers plunge into moth-eaten wool, grease-crusted, and strike cold metal. A coin, no, something older, flat, but heavy, buried deep like a corpse knife beneath blankets. The merchant leans closer. A grin splits his face. A picket fence of crooked teeth waiting. His breath smells of burnt oats and that cheap blended whiskey. Higgins calls it bog water. But you're nodding as shadows eat the streetlights behind him. Lovely piece, he wheezes. Pulled it from a nun's grave, the silent kind, the ones who kept secrets in their rosary beads. 3 farmers haggle over turnips to your left, their shouts bouncing off tin roofs. But here, silence grows like mold on bread. Norman lords once traded silver here, hammered metal changing hands under these same soggy skies back, when markets teetered between honest trade and smuggling dens. Merchant Guild records list 18 authorized stalls in this square, but historians still argue whether half were fronts for pirate gold. Your thumb rubs dirt from the discs, edge chipped bronze, or maybe copper gone green with tumor. Feels like licking a battery, that metallic tang stuck under your tongue. Fresh dug, he lies, earth hasn't kissed this coin in decades. Crusted nitrogen clings under your nail. Specialists say you can date finds by how dirt bonds to metal. Another lie you tell tourists. This Grimes shovel scraped from his own garden. A fringe detail teases your ear. He mutters about sixpence sewn into salmon bellies. Fresh caught fish shipped north. So customs dogs only sniffed river rot instead of hidden coin. But the story reeks of tavern tales. Proper old, he insists, knocking the piece against his stall. The clank echoes, wrong sound, too hollow, no pure chime of silver. Viking traders preferred Arab dirhams, the real frost-coated treasures. But black market relics like this, bottom barrel, could have paid a shepherd's tab at some ale-sodden inn. Passing carts shiver the stall, rain shakes off the awning, plink-plonking onto your wrist. You pocket the coin, just to feel its weight. Might have bought a loaf here once, or a pardon or poison slipped into a chieftain's mead. He chuckles dry as kindling when your hand retreats. Call it €50, or sing me a verse of something lonely. Your choice. Crows scream from the church spire, marking midnight, in a town where clocks run slow. The wind yanks at your jacket, a beggar's cold fingers snatching you back into the dark. He slides the blanket aside, reaching for a clay jar, one finger hooked into its neck. Or try your luck, dig through the ghost jar, but no refunds if she bites. The market dims, stall lanterns guttering, and his crooked smile stretches, taxidermy-worthy, as shadows chew the street hole. Your thumb brushes dirt from the metal disc, edges biting skin like a crab's pinch. Tarnish hides most details, but one clear image emerges. A raptor's wings stretch wide, clutching something jagged in its talons. The opposite side shows a crescent moon, or maybe a scythe curved blade pointing downward. You spin the coin under dim stall lights, patina flaking onto your jeans. That's no modern euro, the merchant chuckles, his breath smelling of pickled onions. His fingernail taps the eagle's outline. Northern designs, but not from any Viking die cutter I know. Experts link similar symbols to Norse traders who raided Gaelic shores 12 centuries back. Yet this bird's stance puzzles you, wings arched defiantly, not the tight fury of Odin's ravens. A grimy crust clings to the lettering around the rim. You scrape gently, revealing curls and angles that squirm like burnt parchment. Not Latin, not Ogham, defiantly unreadable. Cheeky inscription, probably calling you a fool in some dead dialect. Historians still argue whether these marks identified kings, mercenaries, or drunken silversmiths. Rain drums the stall's canopy overhead, gray light washing over your find. The merchant slides a magnifying glass across the counter, stained glass, making the eagle's eye flare red. Notice the moon's pockmarks, he murmurs. Folktales claim each dent marks a spirit trapped in silver. His calloused finger traces the pits. Others say they're just bad casting, but where's the fun in that? Metal warms against your palm, or maybe your blood rises to argue with time. 900 years, give or take a decade. Imagine the hands that passed this disc, sailors gambling below decks, farmers hiding treasure from tax collectors. Did it buy a cow a dagger, a night with someone who smelled of peat smoke? The merchant leans inconspiratorially. Found 3 like this near a fallen dolmen, all facing north toward Donegal. He winks. Perfect for confusing compasses if you enjoy walking in circles. His joke lands flat, but you humor him with a smirk. Wind howls through the market square, flapping the stall's plastic sheeting like ghost sails. For a heartbeat, the coin thrums against your skin, a phantom heartbeat under bronze. 2 rhythms clash, the present's steady march, and the past's uneven gallop. Your fingernail picks at green corrosion, revealing faint stars stamped near the eagle's beak, constellations, navigation marks, or just a bored smith's doodles. Those stars match no known Viking charts, the merchant admits, rubbing his stubbled chin. Though mad old Fergus down the pub swears they map fairy roads, whatever that means. Letters coil tighter at the coin's edge, thorny script resisting translation. You imagine a king's decree hammered into this band, a warning, a boast, a lover's initial. All guesses, all equally possible. Raindrops blur the dirt, sliding into the grooves like liquid time. He hands you a cloth, its fibers scratching the coin's face as you scrub. Mint marks emerge 3 tiny frogs near the crescent's curve. Never seen amphibians on currency before, you remark, tapping the trio. The merchant shrugs. Maybe they worshipped pond life up north, or ran out of decent symbols. His laughter sounds like a hinge needing oil. Silver gleams faintly beneath centuries of neglect, an impatient glow beneath your fingers. Metal remembers. Forges trades, shipwrecks graves. This disc drowned in mud, then gasped back into daylight. You wonder if the original owner cursed losing it, or sighed with relief. Shadows deepen as storm clouds smother the afternoon. Market crowds thin, vendors packing unsold pottery and wilting herbs. Better finish your inspection, the merchant says, nodding at the darkening sky. Unless you want to argue value by flashlight, while my stomach yells for stew. He pats his belly, proving his point with a theatrical growl. You tilt the coin, watching raindrops slide off its rim like parting tears. 1,200 years, and still it demands attention. Still it bites. Still it refuses to confess a single secret. €50, the merchant offers, just as thunder rattles his display shelves of plastic leprechauns. The coin digs into your palm, drawing no blood, yet scoring something deeper. Outside, a tourist drops their umbrella, chasing it down the cobbles with panicked giggles. The merchant sighs. Watch them trip on history, literally. Indeed, the square hides Celtic foundation, stones under modern concrete, waiting to snatch high heels. You smile, but your grip tightens around cold metal. Wind shrieks through a gap in the awning, whipping the coin's grime into your eyes. Blinking away grit, you glimpse the eagle again, features blurred by centuries, yet somehow sharpening in the storm's fury. Wings spread, not in flight, but challenge. A warrior's last gesture before oblivion. Keep it, the merchant suddenly grumbles, pushing your hand closed. Unless you're afraid old ghosts ride in its pocket. His gaze flicks to the downpour beyond the stall, where rain stripes the air like prison bars. Just bring me whiskey tomorrow, no cheap stuff, and we'll call it even. Lightning flashes, for 1 second etching the eagle's silhouette onto your vision. Thunder follows, shaking the earth, as if giants stir beneath the market square. The merchant crosses himself, then spits between his boots, an old warding gesture. Your fist stays locked around the coin edges, pressing lines into destiny. Or maybe just your lifeline. Outside, the soaked tourist gives up on their umbrella, laughing as they splash toward the pub. Water flows over hidden stones, over buried hoards, over time itself. The merchant lights a hurricane lamp, flame painting his face with dancing shadows. Go on, he urges, nodding toward the sodden street. Before the rain washes us all into the bay, you step into the storm, metal warming slightly against your pulse, as if greeting the thunder. Raindrops ping off the coin's surface, cleaning it better than any cloth. Letters glint, still unreadable, but no longer caked in dirt. Eagles and moons and frogs, a language lost to everything except stubborn metal. Your thumb traces the grooves, wondering whose voice once bragged about this disk's weight in grain or love. Behind you, the stall keeper whistles an old rebellion tune, off-key, but relentless. His lantern sways, a lone beacon in the drowned market. You walk away, treasure in hand, while thunder drums an approval no historian could ever explain. The knife's tap echoes through the stall, a dry click like beetle wings. Steam rolls off the clay bowl he pushes toward you. Mint stings your nostrils, then soothes. His cheeks hollow as he sips, fogging spectacles perched on his bony nose. Found near oaks that remember, he repeats, knife handle scratched with crude tally marks. Trees forget nothing, even their own falls. It's the roots that hold grudges. Historians still argue whether Gaelic hoards were buried for safety or as gifts to forest spirits. You cradle the tea, heat bleeding into your palms, thawing yesterday's rain chill. Outside, tourists snap photos of a Bronze Age stone wedged between a sneaker store and ATM. The merchant snorts. They worship convenience now. But flash floods expose older appetites. His blade points to your coin, resting on a scrap of fox fur between you. 3 scratches mar its surface, fresh since last night. The eagle's angry, he observes. Metal remembers touch, yours is unfamiliar. Many Roman coins bear bankers' marks, a common practice to test purity. This cut looks deliberate, a zigzag, like lightning frozen mid-strike. He flips the knife, handle aimed at your chest, carved antler yellowed, stained with something dark at the grip. Oak groves north of here, towers fell there before Rome's first brick. His whisper roughens. Diggers found iron bars under roots thick as horses, but bars fade. The blade tip traces your coin's edge. Metal endures, holds voices better than soil. A child's laugh erupts outside, too shrill, making the stall's hanging keys shiver. The merchant doesn't blink. They melt down crowns for cartoons now, tin heroes for tin mines. His disdain hangs between you sharp as the mints bite. A flicker of silver catches your eye beneath his sleeve. Scars ladder his forearm, not wounds, but purposeful lines, each a match for the tally marks on his knife. 1 per winter, he mutters, pulling the cloth down. Count them, you'll know my age truer than any parish record. You tally 17 marks faded at the wrist, fresh near the elbow. Rain leaks through the canopy, dripping onto a tin plate. Plink, plink, plink. His knife slices the rhythm. Rhythm's the first language, coins know it. You slammed yours down last night. True, your palm still bears the disk's imprint, a temporary tattoo of greed. He nudges the bowl closer, tea now tepid, leaves sludge at the bottom. Drink the grounds, they'll stick the past to your ribs. You decline politely. His shrug says he expected nothing better. Sunlight fractures through cloud gaps, hitting the fur under your coin. Threads glow red as rust or blood. 19th century looters claimed fox fur prevented silver from dreaming, thus escaping its owners. Nonsense, obviously, yet your coin seems alert, watchful. Knife meets wood again, regular as a clock ticking backward. Your eagle faces a moon, but that's no moon. He spins the disc, revealing the curved blade. See how the arc thins here. That's a wave, not sky, a king's drowning crown. One obscure text suggests a 7th century duchess minted shipwreck coins, omen currency for doomed voyages. Shadows shift as sun surrenders to clouds. The merchant's eyes darken, matching the storm gathering past the market. He leans close, tea and pickled onion breath, telegraphing his warning. That metal, it's seen hungry sons bury fathers under false names. Thunder punctuates him, drumming the stall's roof like impatient fists. Outside, the crowd scatters, umbrellas blooming in panic. His laugh rasps. Watch them flee, dry death, wet death, just death they can't bargain with. You pocket the coin, its weight slanted against your thigh. An imbalance you're starting to crave. Tomorrow, he orders, not asks, wiping his blade on a rag. Bring moonlight, or at least a flashlight, and decent whiskey. He examines the rag, grimaces, tosses it into a dented bucket. Mind the roots tonight. They twist toward warm things like your pocket's prize. Your fingers brush the coin's edge, still faintly warm, still silent. The tea bowl sits empty, a silt ring staining its belly. His knife resumes tapping, counting seconds, counting secrets, counting cost. Market bells clang noon, ignored by everyone except pigeons. The storm swells ready to burst, while tourists sprint for cover. You turn to leave, footsteps drowned by the downpour's roar. Remember, his voice snags you mid-stride, a hook in your spine. If you wake at 3, with dirt under your nails, don't plant anything foolish. His smirk cracks like old paint. Unless you're decorating your own grave. Rain funnels down gutters, carrying ticket stubs, pretzel crumbs, a child's lost mitten. The coin hums against your thigh, 3 faint vibrations, then stillness. His laughter follows you into the deluge, blurred, but sharper than his knife. Wind plucks at your sleeve, as if testing your grip on the metal, on his words, on history's slippery spine. Rain sluices down your neck, turning the path to slurry beneath your boots. The oak grove hums ahead, a shadowed bruise against storm-gray sky. That coin pulses in your pocket, 3 beats fast, 1 slow, a morbid heart counting steps. Mud sucks at your soles, trying to hold you back, to bury you shallow. You recall 17th century peasants hiding Spanish silver under pigsties. English soldiers rarely checked there, a good tactic, until hogs started swallowing doubloons, and farmers faced angry livestock. Twisted roots breach the soil like arthritic fingers, knuckles swollen with time. Rain slicks their bark, making darkness gleam where moss doesn't cling. One tree leans hard, its trunk split around an iron band swallowed centuries ago. The grove smells of wet iron rotting leaves and something sweet beneath decay, lightning forks freezing the scene in bone-white snapshot. 10 steps left, a depression cups rainwater, flickering like molten lead. Your knees hit soggy earth, fingers claw through mud and pebbles, until something bites your nail, not a rock too smooth, too deliberate. Cold spreads up your arm as you unearth a chest's corner. Iron thick as 2 thumbs, rusted into scaly ridges. Ribbons of dirt peel away, revealing hinges clenched like stubborn jaws. Historians still argue whether hoards were sacrificial or just panic buried before Viking raids. Rain fills the hole faster than you dig each scoop, slurries back halfway. 14 oak trees lean closer, branches knitting a roof against the downpour. Your coin vibrates, gentler now, a cat purring against your thigh. Ocean isn't reading though its fish will come, you mutter, one of the merchant's stranger phrases. The chest groans open, filthy water gushing over its lip. Inside, 5 coins wink through muck, nested in rotted fabric. Their metal differs, some bronze, one flaky silver, another gleaming like fresh gilt. Gravedigger stories claim Celtic kings slept with coins in their mouths to bribe underworld gatekeepers. Nonsense, probably, but your tongue tastes copper anyway. You lift a bronze disc thicker than the others and scrape it with a thumbnail. A high whine answers, almost vocal, followed by 4 distinct tones from its siblings. 5 notes, clashing close to music. 8th century bards supposedly buried song coins to ward off tone-deaf spirits. Thunder shakes the ground, dislodging a root ball overhead. Dirt avalanches into the hole, burying the chest up to its lid. Your fingers cramp, clutching the 5 new coins, cold water pooling in your lap. The oaks creak, a chorus of disapproval or hunger. Rain mutes the world, leaving only the hiss of leaves, the gurgle of mud. You count 93 steps back to the path, each heavier than before. Wet wool scratches your wrists, coins clinking like loose teeth in a jar. Your flashlight beam cuts the gloom, catching on initials carved into a trunk. RM 1692. 3 centuries gone, yet the letters weep slow amber sap. Wars of 3 kingdoms era, when Roundheads melted church bells for cannon, but spared sacred groves. Lightning strikes again, closer, thunder lagging by mere seconds. Shadows leap, briefly human-shaped, against the oak crowd. The merchant's warnings itch in your ears, about roots seeking warmth, about Earth's memory. You pocket the 5 editions, only then feeling their chill seep into muscle. 5 winters, 5 wars, 5 funerals compressed into discs you'll never spend. Under your boot, a snapped sapling oozes red sap onto moss. 1798 rebellion tales spoke of bleeding trees. Before battles, bad omens dripping onto rebel collars. Dawn bleeds gray at the horizon, storm retreating south, still grumbling. You retrace your steps, mud hardening on jeans into uncomfortable sculpture. The market stalls sleep shuttered, except one oil lamp glowing near the tea merchant's post. His silhouette waits, knife tapping tin, steam coiling from a fresh bowl. 10 coins now fill your pocket, their combined weight bending your posture. Roots did twist toward warmth, after all following your trail, clutching shoe prints like souvenirs. Wind riffles your soaked collar, carrying that same sweet decay smell. The merchant's blade stills as you approach his grin, a crescent reflection of the metal you carry. Your knees ache, your hands cake red-brown, your pockets jingle with frozen history. The lamp flickers, drawing moths already duped by false dawn. He doesn't speak, yet his outstretched palm demands proof. 5 wet discs gleam in his grip, their edges flaked like dried blood. Oaks chew slow, he rasps, dropping them into a leather pouch. Next moon, bring whiskey. Roots like peat better than tea. His knife points north toward higher hills, where older trees twist like broken spines. You sip the bowl he offers, mint, and something bitter now grounds gritty on your teeth. 3 years, you calculate, since last touching soil this hungry. The coins hum softly, a dissonant choir tuning for daylight's arrival. His fingers, stained with tannin or dried blood, brush yours as he retrieves the bowl. 9 more sleeps. Then we visit the giant's dancing floor. First birds gargle in distant eaves, storms anger, spent leaking gold through clouds. Market awnings drip steady rhythms onto deserted cobbles. He vanishes into his stall, leaving you stamped with mud, sap metal's persistent whisper. Boots squelch toward your rented room, past trinket stalls and forlorn atoms. Tap water runs brown when you scrub your hands, but the chill stays marrow deep. 5 new coins dry on the windowsill, lined up like jurors condemning daylight. Rain returns, gentler now, pinging the fire escape. The merchant's laugh echoes in the pipes. Or maybe just the building settling. You count 63 drips before sleep drags you under where roots drill through dreams, and iron bars dissolve into fog. Sunlight knives through the window, drawing molten lines across your coins. Their edges bite into the wooden sill, carving faint grooves overnight. You lift the silver 1 square in your palm, still cold despite the morning heat. That eagle's wings stretch wide, each feather etched with military precision. His talons clutch a jagged bolt, not Roman lightning, not Byzantine sun rays. Experts think barbarian kingdoms copied Roman coins, but twisted the symbols for local gods. This raptor looks hungry, windswept like it just dove from a thunderhead. A knock rattles your door, 3 staccato taps, then silence. The merchant's cough echoes down the stairwell, steeped in yesterday's peat and mint. You tuck the coins into your pocket, their chill seeping through denim to your thigh. Outside, he leans against a lamppost, peeling paint flakes with his thumbnail. Sky gods stamped that metal, he mutters, showing blackened gums. Warred with giants flinging mountains like dice before iron aged their bones. His breath carries burnt honey and mildew, a scent stuck in the back of your throat. The coin warms between your fingers, its silver surprisingly bright under soot stains. No emperor's face here, just the eagle and its crooked thunderbolt. Historians still argue whether Hiberno-Norse craftsmen forged these for trade or secret cult rituals. He sniffs, nose wrinkling at a passing fish cart, and spits into the gutter. Birds carried those to temples, dead ones left on stone altars. You remember the rooks circling the oak grove, black wings silent as they watched you dig. Down at the quay, tourists swarm souvenir shops, hunting leprechaun keychains and plastic harps. The merchant leads you behind a seafood shed, waves slapping the dock pillars. He unwraps a greasy cloth, revealing 4 more eagles, each clutching different weapons. Giants bled iron when the sky gods won, he whispers, tapping a coin with a dagger symbol. Celts mined the crust, made swords whisper betrayal. Always the drama with him, though 8th century metallurgy does confirm unique iron sources in these hills. Salt wind snakes around your collar, lifting the cloth from his hand. A coin rolls toward the water's edge, halting at a shrimp carcass. Its eagle faces north, toward fjords where dragon-proud ships once anchored. You crouch to retrieve it, grit grinding your kneecap, then freeze. The shrimp's antennae brush the metal and curl backward like burnt thread. The merchant chuckles, a sound like gravel down a drainpipe. They remember fire, those coins long past when men forget. Back at his stall, he brews more bitter tea, crumbling dried yarrow into the pot. Steam swirls into shapes, maybe eagles, maybe just chaos. You count how the thunderbolt aligns with your palm lines, almost intersecting the life crease. Folktales say giants built Newgrain, he offers, probably to offset the yarrow's bitterness. Mainstream archaeology credits Neolithic farmers, but whatever. His version has more screaming, and a god hurling comets like skipping stones. Your fingers tingle, holding the coin to the light, its edge slightly serrated, not for cutting, but maybe for scraping herbs or pagan sacrifice residue. Late Romans did issue ceremonial silver for temple offerings, often with intentional flaws to denote humility. The merchant slams his palm down, rattling the teacups. Listen, wind whips the stall's canvas. Flags snap on nearby rooftops. Under the cities, hum metal purrs against your thumb. A subsonic thrum felt more than heard. 3 street kids kick a dented soda can, its rattle competing with your coin's vibration. The merchant glares, then shoves a tarnished disc into your free hand. Twin eagles back to back, their beaks open in silent shrieks. Vikings landed west of here, you know. His knife blade cleans dirt from the engraving, burned a monastery, looted the silver, then lost it all in a bet with Irish bandits. A true fact recorded in the annals of Ulster under the year 822. Laughter bursts from a pub doorway, drowning the coin's whispers. You press them to your ears like seashells, hoping for ocean secrets. Instead, faint clanging, as if hammers strike distant anvils inside your skull. Smith ghosts, he nods, as though diagnosing tinnitus. They hate unfinished work. His stained teeth gleam in a sudden sunbreak, momentarily erasing his wrinkles. Traffic noise swells, drowning his next words. You lip read North Road and 3 nights. Then he's wrapping coins in fox fur again. Rain starts, 1 heavy drop on your wrist, then a dozen. The eagles fog over their thunderbolts, blurring into mist. He shoves the bundle into your jacket, already turning to secure his tarps. Plastic shamrocks flap wildly, tossed by the squall. Your coins grow heavier, pulling you northward like reverse gravity. Puddles reflect bruised skies, each ripple warping your face into ancestral ghosts. A shop window displays replica, Viking jewelry, mass-produced eagles with vacant eyes. Yours glare sideways, plotting escape routes, ready to slice through cheap velvet. Your hotel sink swallows brown water as you scrub metal residue off. The silver eagle glints on the soap dish, fogging the mirror's edge. Some believe iron coins quiet, vengeful spirits, while silver summons them, a pointless debate, since superstition and archaeology rarely share pints. Rain drums Morse code on the roof, urgent, repetitive. You pocket the eagle, still humming its dull frequency hymn. Across town, the merchant locks his stall, rattling chains older than his jokes. Streetlights flicker on one by one, pushing back the downpour's gloom. You trace the thunderbolt with a fingertip, its angles sharper than factory minting allows, hand-forged maybe by a smith who added his own scars to the design. Night falls properly blue-black, blotting out the hills where giants supposedly bled. Your ceiling creaks, settling into its foundation, or mimicking footsteps above. The coins sit lined up on your nightstand, judging your insomnia. Wind whistles through a window crack, 3 rising notes. Outside, gulls fight over chips, their shrieks echoing the eagle's frozen cries. You count 11 coins now, each nudging your thoughts toward storm-struck cliffs and a dance floor where giants may still shuffle in moonlit fog. Moonlight stripes your coins, their crescent edges glinting like whetted blades. That curve mirrors 9th century Gaelic battle swords, hung in chieftain halls to ward off vengeful spirits. You press one to the window pane, silver eclipsing the storm-tossed bay below. Rain smears the glass, distorting lantern lights into drowned stars. Somewhere beyond the cliffs, waves gnaw at a shipwreck stuffed with similar metal. Historians still argue whether these crescents marked royal bloodlines or just clever blacksmiths copying Arabic dirhams. The merchant's rasp echoes in memory, 53 generations back. Ghosts sharpen swords in your ears. You tilt the coin, now catching the bedside lamp, and suddenly hear it. Faint scraping steel on whetstone beneath the rain's percussion. Your thumb traces glyphs along the rim, not Ogham's straight lines, but wolf-tail spirals. 10th century Irish hoards held similar coins, often near monasteries raided by Vikings. This feels older savage, like the smith chewed the silver before stamping it. 3 a.m. wind howls through the alley, whistling over bottlenecks and loose tin signs. The coins vibrate in response, a low hum resonating in your molars. Modern reproductions never capture this. Industrial era metals lack panic. One crescent near your ear hisses, a sound like quenching hot iron. Melodic if you squint, Norsemen believed singing coins warded off Draugr, those seaweed-clotted corpses haunting shorelines. You doubt that worked, but these edges could definitely exfoliate. Your phone's glare reveals pits in the metal, microscopic battle scars. Each dip holds traces of peat smoke and blood, according to spectral analysis, done on peer examples. Two bad experts never mention the goosebumps during lab tests. Dawn leaks through clouds, weak tea staining the harbor. You pocket the crescents, their weight making your jacket sag leftward. Outside, fishermen unload glistening mackerel, slapping them into plastic crates with bored precision. The merchant materializes by a net-draped wall, picking scales off his sleeve. Warrior kings paid their poets with those. His grin gaps like a broken necklace. One ballad, one sliver, and woe to the bard who rhymed poorly. A gull swoops for fish guts, screeching like a battle horn. The coins flare warm against your ribs, as if offended by the noise. Mainstream historians insist Gaelic rulers paid in cattle or land, but try stuffing a cow into your pocket. He nods toward the north road, muddy from last night's downpour. Ever seen a chief's tomb? Just grass mounds now, but their bones cradle silver like mothers. Archaeologists found lavish grave goods at Newgrange, though motherly isn't the vibe you'd get. Tour buses cough diesel fumes as they park, disgorging camera-wielding hordes in pastel windbreakers. The merchant melts into an alley, gesturing for you to follow. His boots leave prints deeper than they should in the wet earth. Under a dripping fire escape, he parts his coat, straining the buttons. Crescent coins dangle inside like bizarre liner, each threaded on horsehair. Outlaw money, he whispers, though 10th century Irish laws did criminalize forging moon-marked metal. A rogue's resume booster. Your smallest crescent fits the groove between his eyebrows, like some pagan third eye. Smiths added curses sometimes. He taps the coin. Rub it, and hear a king's last curse breath. Rain resumes needling your collar as you retreat toward the docks. The crescents hum louder, threatening to harmonize with a distant car alarm. Across the bay, ferries slice through whitecaps, their engines groaning like tired warriors. Streetlights flicker off, surrendering to gray daylight. You count 12 coins now, one for each rebellion drowned in bogs. Their edges have nicked your fingertips, leaving crescents of your own blood in the grooves. Seagulls wheel overhead, their cries sharpening the wind. The merchant's laughter follows you, thin and reedy, as the coins drag you toward Shipgrave cliffs. And whatever waits, where ghosts still hone their blades for lost causes. Wind rips off the bay, sharp, with brine licking salt from your stolen coins. You pinch one between nails, its grooves packed with what looks like ancient sea crust. Clean it, and your thumb comes away tasting of a storm from the year 902. Merchants sailed Viking silver up Ireland's rivers, hacking coins to wait out tiny deals. This crust could be from a longboat deck or from a fisherman's pocket soaked in spray. Mainstream records say coastal folk traded crab and oysters for such fragments. But hungry nights breed stranger bargains. Scrape the salt gently, revealing pitted metal underneath. Historians still argue whether this pitting came from acidic soil or from greedy handlers scrubbing off curses. Your teeth buzz strangely, even though silver isn't magnetic. Some blacksmiths spiked their alloy with meteor iron, a quirky habit that made tools sing in northern lights. Pressed to your wrist, the coin throbs cold against your pulse. 12 heartbeats, then 20, a rhythm that doesn't match yours. 20th century forgers missed this trick. They baked coins in ovens, not tide pools. Rain slants sideways, needling your neck as cliffs howl ahead. To pay a ferryman, bribe a guard. The coin lifts in the wind, tugging toward the drop like a divining rod. Fishermen used these as sinkers sometimes, tying bad luck to hooks and drowning it. Today's trawlers have fancy weights, but maybe lead lacks personality. Dried salt cracks in the eagle's feather grooves. You rub until bronze shows through beneath the red of torn scabs. Experts argue 12th century dockmasters minted their own tokens, metal stamped with hidden tavern names, proof against watery tacksmen. No tavern mark here, just a 3rd century headache pounding behind your eyes. The merchant's voice ghosts into your ear. Smugglers sewed these into their hems, ran wet coasts with salt-bleached eyes. Better than airport security anyway. Heavier now, the coin pulls your palm downward. Iron-rich cliffs bleed, rust into soil below, staining tidal pools the color of old blood. Buried hoards, often clustered near high shores, landmarks for diggers who trusted tides more than maps. Wrap the coin in cloth, but the hum climbs your arm anyway. Roman accounts mention Gauls nailing cursed coins to sacred oaks, their edges flensed by wind into owl-feather thinness. This one's no owl. It's pure hawk shrieking toward northern waters. Slate gray waves maul the base of cliffs, 20 fathoms swallowing sunlight. You count heartbeats against the metal's chill, 2 creatures arguing across centuries. One rhythm says swim, the other says drown, both croon like drunken sailors. Drizzle turns your sleeve translucent, revealing pocket outlines pressing toward open air. These coins know their way home, shaped by hands that rotted to silt long before Shakespeare scribbled his first curse. 6 gulls spiral above a white boil of sea foam, dragging screeches like nails on wet slate. You drop the coin back among its brothers. They clink, a sound like jawbones rattling in churchyard dirt. Stone steps carved into the cliff descend, slick with algal fur. Fisherman's path, smuggler's shortcut. Either way, it smells of trapped rain and the promise of something rusty singing underfoot. You brace against wind, ready to meet whatever metal dreamed this place into being, salt-crusted and starving for sun. You push through twisted hawthorn branches, snagging your sleeve like bony fingers tugging you back. The stall-keeper's shack leans against an ivy-choked abbey wall, its planks swollen from last night's rain. He waits under a dripping awning, fingers curled around a trowel, crusted with mud older than Dublin. His nails split down to ragged cuticles, black peat wedged deep beneath them. Raw knuckles brush against yours as he offers the trowel handle out, rattling the dirt tongues again. No smile this time, just eyes ringed like tree stumps. You remember Viking hoards buried near stroke oaks, their silver hacksilver stacked like fish scales underwater. Farmers still plow up spearheads half melted into the earth's memory. He taps his trowel blade against a bucket of half-cleaned coins. Ding, 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 ding. A sound like dripping cave water. Lanterns get you turned around out there. Black mud streaks his collar dried to cracked riverbeds across the fabric. Midnight diggers in the 1800s swore they saw corpse candles bobbing in oak groves, beckoning fools to dig at empty spots. Historians still argue whether buried hoards were wartime savings or offerings to gods grown deaf and hungry. You tilt the bucket, shaking loose a coin crusted with crown gall fungus. His fingers dart in knife scraping the green rot away to reveal a snarling boar etched beneath. Found this one where fairy pipes woke last Tuesday. His laugh comes out choked, a wet hinge swinging in wind. Real or delusion, those myths had teeth, whole villages avoiding moonlit thickets for fear of following lights to nowhere. He spits into the mud, a brown glob landing near your boot. You don't dance with grove fire unless you've made peace with your bones, staying buried crooked. His trowel scrapes lines in the dirt, a crude map of twisted roots and stone teeth beneath the hill. Medieval peat diggers told tales of blue flames rising from marsh gas. But his face says these lights move with purpose, counting steps between buried iron. A moth lands on your wrist, its wings powdered charcoal gray. He flicks it away before you catch its pattern. They sip lamp oil, those moth-dark ones, then whisper where to dig. Nuttery, probably, but coins don't lie in straight lines 3 feet down. Smell that, iron rot, and turned earth soaking through mist, the tang of metal sweating centuries underground. He peels back a burlap sack, revealing coins rolled in fox fur, their edges nibbled by something small and persistent. Sold 4 already to a lad who sweated cold. Calloused fingers unroll fur, 1 copper disc clattering onto planks. 10th century Norse traders notched their hack silver to test purity. See those tiny axe nicks along the rim. This one's too clean knifed soft by acidic soil, eating its song away. You press the coin to your tongue, tasting bog iron and pine resin leaching through copper. He slaps your hand down quick, Only thieves taste tomorrow's troubles. Lamplight catches the mud beneath his thumbnail darker than soil has any right to be. Some midnight pits cough up sword rust, others slick white roots coiled like sleeping adders. Wind whips the awning, snapping canvas like a ship's sail in a squall. He grips the table edge, steady against the shake. Weather vane spins wild on the abbey roof, pointing north, then west, then nowhere for 3 breaths straight. You've heard of witch weights stitched into sails for luck. But he just mutters, Gail's got a mind to dig for us tonight. He rubs a filthy thumb across the boar coin, smearing mud into the grooves. Age-blackened bronze glints dully where his skin wears it smooth. Diggers from Cork to Belfast tell stories of men swallowed whole by sinkholes, pockets jingling as earth seals overhead. No joke here, though his gaze follows the path downhill toward a ring of oaks shivering in twilight. Mist crawls up the abbey steps, low and deliberate, smothering hoofprints from morning market carts. He leans close, breathing sour curds and stale tea into your ear. They'll be slapping dirt loose since sundown, those others. No names, just a jerk of his chin toward the woods. You think of coins thrumming underground, pulling like lodestones toward greedy hands. Rain starts an uneven tap-tap on the roof, each drop kicking up silt in his muddy bucket. He curls both hands round his belly, a sack of knots, and grudges shaped like a man. Words sit half-said tangled between crooked teeth, while night spreads its ink across the fields. Gnaw on the quiet, or chew your own fears. Still the oaks wait, still the trowel lies cold where he dropped it. Still something hums below the shack's sagging floorboards. You pocket the boar coin, letting fur cling to it like a second skin. Mud-streaked, exhausted, he just nods toward the door, where lanterns flicker far off between the trees. No invitation spoken, no refusal possible, just 2 shapes hunched against weather, listening for the scrape of steel on buried iron. Out, where lights dance hungry over dug earth, you spin, nearly knocking over a spinning rack of plastic-clad eggs. Their heart-end hands prickle your palm, too sharp, like thorns pretending to be jewelry. Behind you, the stall-keepers reel, wares fade into moth-chewed shadows, while tourist traps bleed lurid green. Shamrock keychains drip from rusty nails, each one sweating cheap dye onto your sleeve. Cotton bracelets dangle like noosed worms, authentic Celtic love knots, tags dangling upside down. Their knots mirror patterns found on Ogham stones, except these unravel if you breathe too hard. Victorian factories mass-produced these, pawning them off as sacred relics to homesick sailors. One strand snaps glass beads clicking like loose teeth across the counter. He snorts, wiping his nose on a rag crusted with dirt from last night's dig. Better profit in plastic than history most days. His gaze flicks to the velvet pouch under his boot, guarded tighter than a priest's confession. You smell mothballs and stale incense, old church donations, bags repurposed for smuggling real finds. Rain drums harder on the tin roof turning tourist tat into a soggy collage. Felt leprechaun hats droop, their plastic buckles cracking under false gold paint. Someone's granny will buy one, never knowing it only ever graced a Guangzhou factory line. The stall keeper slaps away a dripping rubber snake, gift of the gab, tattooed down its belly. Found 5 of these near Tara's ruin. Tourists chuck 'em for luck. His chuckle rasps like rusty hinges. Archaeologists keep unearthing modern junk at sacred sites. Discarded polyester wishes, crusted with offering well muck. You tug a kiss me, I'm drunk shirt, its green dye staining your fingertips like gangrene. Piles of these clog Dublin landfills. Yet here they multiply, folded neat, beside counterfeit coins. Historians still argue whether fake antiquities were outright scams or just painful attempts to share butchered heritage. He kicks a loose floorboard, muffled clinking, rising beneath the tourist rubble. Real treasures don't scream, they wait behind rain-warped postcards. A dozen Roman denarii hide under a cracked ashtray. Authentic ones, oxidation blooming across emperors' eyeless faces. Pawn shops miss them, too busy appraising zirconium, Viking rings. A moth-eaten cashmere scarf slithers off its hook, coiling around your wrist like a phantom. He yanks it free, frowning at exposed threads. 1950s Belfast Mills this rubs the fabric between peat-stained fingers, real wool, not today's acrylic slop. Proper textiles nest near his ankles, moths gnawing velvet in slow motion, where time forgets to tick. Someone strums a tinny, bedrawn outside, the beat syncopated with rain. The stall-keeper tenses, shoving a bronze torque deeper into seed packets labeled wild heather. You've seen museum replicas, gilded and gleaming, but this one's black with burial patina. Daft council reenactors lost this last Beltane, still think it's theater props. His grin shows gaps where teeth surrendered to age. Dublin museums display identical torques, 3 cases labeled ceremonial, but it still smells of wood smoke and unwashed warrior necks. Wind slams the door, showering you with felt 4-leaf clovers. They stick to your damp jacket, a plague of fake fortune fluttering against your chest. Beneath them, a cracked leather book lies splayed, its pages detailing 12th century coin molds, borrowed that from Trinity's dustiest shelf by accident. He winks, tucking it under a rainbow-striped tea cozy, pulsing with neon wrongness. You peel a clover off your cheek, its polyester edge scratching like a dried slug. Outside, a tour group herds past, umbrellas blooming cheap Guinness logos. They'll buy this trash, ignoring the stall-keeper's mud-caked boots, the tremor in his hands from midnight digging. He watches them go, knuckles whitening around a linen-wrapped bundle. Easy to miss truth when it's dressed quieter than a nun's shadow. His real inventory stays buried, stinking of loam and secrecy, while plastic celts gleam under buzzing LED strips. 3 teens stumble in giggling at a druid's D20 dice, set glowing with radioactive paint. He sells it for double price, pocketing euros, while whispering Gaelic curses under his breath. As they leave, his hand dips below the counter, producing a silver thimble, tarnished blue-black. Actual Bronze Age, found sewn into a kid's shoe sole. He spits, missing the bin. Crackpot collectors swear cursed items hide in toys. Was this a bribe to the fair folk, or just cruel luck? Rainlight bleeds colors from souvenir flags, their dyes puddling on the counter like melted crayons. The storm's perfume, petrichor, and PVC stink sharpens when he opens a biscuit tin under the register. Inside, a scrap of vellum clings to life, its ink blurred by time's thumb. You glimpse Gaelic script, likely a monk's grocery list, or some forgotten king's last will. 1940s renovation found it stuffed in a cathedral buttress. He snaps the lid shut, hiding words that survived wars, only to nap next to glow-in-the-dark rosaries. Dusk gnaws the last gray light, swallowing tourist stalls down the lane. Neon shamrocks flicker on buzzing like drunk wasps. The stall-keeper lights a hurricane lamp, its glow pooling gold on faux relics, while velvet shadows swallow history whole. He nods toward the back curtain, where moths perform their slow feast on anything real. You follow, crushing a plastic harp pendant underfoot, its snapped string twanging uselessly against the floorboards. The stall-keeper scrapes a thumbnail across the coin's edge bronze, sighs a high-pitched keen like steam escaping a kettle. He holds it to your ear, decay's melody, humming through centuries of burial. Archaeologists know oxidation changes metal's song, each soil type adding its own rasp or whine. Loamy earth leaves deeper tones. Chalk downs sharpen them to glassy whispers. He unwraps fox fur, greasy and matted from his jacket pocket. 5 more coins tumble onto the counter. Each patina tells a different grave story. One hums when tapped, a vibration buzzing up your arm. Crackpot metalworkers argue bog water etches memories into copper, old battles screeching. If heated right, you half expect war cries, but get only a dentist drill whine. This one, he flicks a green-crusted disc, sang at midnight during last week's dig. Local legends say certain soils preserve echoes like grooves on a broken record, tromp over forgotten battlefields, and your boots might replay death thuds through the mud. You press the coin to your tongue, taste iron's tang, decide against licking the questionable fur. Historians still argue whether coin sounds held ritual meaning or just annoyed ancient bankers. Viking hoards often show deliberate scratching, maybe silencing them, maybe tuning. He demonstrates, dragging a knife over a silver piece. The screech curdles your saliva. 3 kids outside cover their ears, glaring through the fogged window. 3 coins form a triangle, their vibrations amplifying until a glass votive candle cracks. No harmony in stolen metal. He mutters, sweeping them apart. 89% of looted artifacts show acoustic flaws, their songs tense and jangling compared to properly excavated finds. You pocket the best Hummer, its purr sinking, with your phone's silent mode buzz. Fox fur gets rewrapped, now holding 3 clinking dissenters who refuse to harmonize. He shrugs, brittle personalities, like my second wife. 1 coin rolls off the counter, plinking down floorboard cracks into the building's damp belly. A faint chime answers from below, muffled but defiant. Foundations here swallow truth and sometimes spit back rumors. Rain starts again, hammering the roof into a war drum crescendo. He slides you the quietest coin slicks with peat sludge, no shine left. Silent ones tell coldest tales, pioneers of archaeocaustics, once charted 17 distinct ancient coin sounds, grouped by region and era. You rub thumb over pitted edges, feeling nothing but November chill and stubborn quiet. Water pools around your boots, reflecting flickering neon from outside. The coin's surface ripples, bronze, becoming liquid for 1 slippery second. Industrial Revolution factories silenced hand-cast metals, their uniform jingles no match for hand-beaten quirks. You drop it deliberately, but it lands mute as a bishop's confession. Soil remembers, he whispers, pressing a mud-caked finger to his lips. Fringe journals swear certain Irish clays record vibrations, centuries of whispered plots, absorbed by hungry earth. A tourist stomps past, sending tremors through the floorboards, and the fox fur bundle answers with a fractured scale, like a toddler's xylophone thrown downstairs. Darkness thickens, swallowing the counter's edge. He lights 2 more lamps, flame glow warping the coins into cratered moons. 63 years, these sat under oaks, feasting on root sap and worm song, leaching mineral memories. 1 vibrates near the left lantern, making shadows shudder like hunted things. Heat changes, pitch warm coins sing cleaner, chilly ones grumble basso profundo. You line them up, each humming distance between acidic soil and night air, until your teeth ache from symphonic bad luck. Dinnertime church bells clang half a mile away, and every coin answers. Copper ones drone, silver ones ping sharp, iron stays stubbornly mute. Meteorite metal coins, he claims, howl in chords no human throat can copy. Try your luck. He extends a palm crusted with last Tuesday's plow mud. Wrap them in wool, he insists. Sleep with them under your pillow. Listen for market day echoes. Venetian traders buried purse jingles as protective spells, their jangle meant to scare off Balkan thieves. You pocket 2 Hummers, 1 groaner, and leave the silent one weeping tarnish onto wet wood. The stall keeper upends his teacup, brown droplets splattering across the scratched counter. Feet shook this valley. His finger swirls through the spill, drawing lumpy circles that dribble onto your sleeve. Outside, rain lashes Galway's cobblestones, but your soles tingle like you're standing on a frozen river. Fair folk, ice age beasts, the left lamp flickers, shadows stretching thin as old scars. 30,000 winters back, he hisses, tracing a wobbling spiral. Mainstream geology agrees glaciers clawed grooves into these hills, mile-high ice grinding bedrock into flour. His version sounds livelier. Giants dragged sledges of stolen rock, cheating at their stone-throwing contests. You imagine mammoth footprints, each toe depression big enough to drown a cow. He stabs the counter, tea water quivering. Walk Knockma Hill at dawn, feel the shiver under birch roots. Fringe newsletters swear certain barrows hide footfall chambers, hollows where vibrations amplify into phantom stomps. Archaeologists found Neolithic pottery there, marked with zigzags folklorists call dance diagrams. You shift your weight, half expecting the floorboards to buck like a rodeo bull. Something vibrates in your pocket, the harmonizing coins from last week's fox fur bundle. Historians still argue whether ancient tremors inspired quake gods or just bad cider. Your Hummer coin thrums against your thigh, syncopated with the dripping gutter outside. The stall keeper nods. Metal remembers being trodden on. A tour group sloshes past, umbrellas clashing like knights' lances. Their stomping boots trigger a low groan beneath your feet. Teacup ripples concentric. The stall keeper's mud-drawn giants seem to shudder into motion. One circle overlaps a water stain, forming a lopsided face, howling soundlessly. 13 skeletons found near Athenry, crushed pelvis bones, suggesting something massive stepped on them. Dance or disaster. He licks tea off his thumb, grimacing at the bitterness. You press palms flat on the counter, wood humming with 20 generations of dropped coins and secret fists. Warm vibration climbs your wrists, just like that Dublin nightclub where bass speakers made your molar fillings ache. He digs under the counter, producing a lump of granite veined with quartz. Licked this off a Connemara stream bed. It gleams wetly under lamplight, speckled with mica that winks like sly eyes. Glacial erratics, officially rocks carried miles by ice sheets. His twist tossed aside when giants cleared their dance floor. Tap it with the spoon. It rings flat compared to the coin's metallic purr. Rain drums harder, pattering tempo accelerating. Your soul's tingle increases to pins and needles intensity. You picture giants' knuckles dragging across hilltops, frost cracking beneath their nail beds, 10-ton feet slamming down in something between a waltz and a tantrum. The stall keeper scrapes his granite chunk across the counter, setting your teeth on edge like biting tinfoil. They're not gone, he whispers, staring at the ceiling, as if tracking footsteps upstairs. No apartment exists above his stall, just sagging rafters and generations of swallow nests. Local legends say certain vibrations wake dormant things, buried hooves twitching under bogs. You suppress the urge to bolt, anchored by curiosity and damp socks. He slides the granite toward you, its chill seeping into your palms like an IV drip of mountain frost. Rub your thumb over its pitted surface. Friction sparks a scent of struck flint. Modern surveys map limestone caverns riddling the region, some big enough to stable herds of mythical cattle. A drip from the ceiling hits your neck, startlingly warm, as if the roof itself bled fever sweat. The coins in your pocket buzz louder their harmonies, sliding into minor key discord. You pull out the worst offender, its hum now jagged as a bread knife. 17 sheep, once stampeded off Nignaria's cliffs, shepherds blaming subterranean drums. The stall-keeper grins, cracked lips peeling back from tea-stained teeth, and taps Morse code rhythms on his granite slab. Vibration travels up your arms, shoulder blades twitching like wings trying to unfurl. Outside, lightning forks over Galway, Bay thunder, lagging 3 whole seconds behind. The counter's tea puddle ripples without touching. His hand slaps down, hear that bass note. Your Hummer coin amps to a dentist drill whine. Others answering from drawers and jars and ceiling cracks. 11 coins clink through dust, rolling toward the granite block like iron filings to a magnet. Suddenly, the floor bucks, a shudder so brief you doubt your knees. Tower Hill's earthquake of 1968, measuring 2.3, scattered dishes from Welsh dressers across 5 counties. The stall-keeper steadies his lamps, flames swaying gold across his thrilled grimace. Living land, he breathes, as coins arrange themselves into a lopsided arrow pointing down. Your phone buzzes, a news alert about minor tremors near Loch Corrib. Coincidence? Or did you pay admission to a giant's ballroom with that fox fur purchase? He kicks a floorboard, exposing black soil beneath the rotting wood. Dig here, the Hummer coin burns cold against your thigh, pulse thrumming like a plucked bass string. You hesitate, staring at the granite lump, now speckled with tea droplets like sweat. Frozen footstep or glacial reject, Thor's dancing goats or tectonics nobody taught you in school. Rain hammers the roof, its rhythm syncing with the coin's drone, until your fillings ache in harmony. Wind howls under the door, carrying a scent of crushed bracken and wet stone that wasn't there before. No charge. The stall-keeper slides the granite into your bag, its weight bowing the strap like an anchor line. He winks, just knock twice if your bed frame starts rattling, a final floorboard creak deep and resonant as a cello's lowest note. Outside, the storm pauses, holding its breath for your next step. Rain drums its fingers on the stall roof, impatient for your next move. The Hummer coin pulses against your thigh, hot as a blacksmith's fresh-forged nail. North, its eagle's beak seems sharper now, carving an invisible line toward the coast. The stall-keeper scrapes grime from the counter, tobacco yellow nails revealing wood grain beneath. Look beyond shamrocks and fiddles. Ireland got forged in Viking fire. His knuckle taps the eagle's wings. 9th century longships didn't just raid, they overwintered building ports that became Dublin, Cork, Limerock. Schoolbooks sanitize it, calling them settlers. But your coin feels restless, flattened under centuries of politeness. You tilt it toward lamplight, black tarnish flaking off the raptor's claws. Here's a fun fact they skip in museums. Nordic raiders once coated ships' prows with tar glow chemicals, burning blue at night to mimic starved dragons. Imagine 30 such beached beasts flaming in Wicklow Bay, farmers mistaking them for the apocalypse. Historians still argue whether berserkers chewed hallucinogenic rye or just loved their job too much. The stall keeper spits into a rusted bucket, aim perfectly true. Scarier than banshees, those Northmen's credit system. He mimes slitting a throat, then laughs, a sound like gravel down a drainpipe. Actual Viking law required paying debts promptly or tasting sharpened steel. Your coin thrums, anger radiating through its alloy. 13 tons of Irish silver ended up in Scandinavia, melted into arm rings, clinking from Oslo to Kiev. A flawed disc, he called it. You spy imperfections now, pockmarks from hasty melting, a wavy rim betraying some apprentice's shaky grip. Kings ransom thieves rarely rehearse their blacksmithing. Archaeologists found similar botched coins near Waterford, half-cooked in clay furnaces that still reek of pine resin when it rains. He nudges a cracked magnifier toward you, lens warped as a funhouse mirror. Watch close when lightning hits. Stormglow floods the stall, pale green flickers. In that flash, the eagle's eye winks, a fleck of gold floating in silver like whiskey in tea. Fringe treasure blogs rave about Columba's gold, molten altar ornaments looted from Iona's Abbey in 806. You blink, gold spot gone, replaced by mundane corrosion. Melting's a confession. The stall keeper polishes his spoon on a greasy sleeve. Vikings silenced whole histories, turning chalices into cloak pins, saintly relics into fishing weights. That dimple could be where a crucifix kissed the molten pool. Your thumb fits the depression perfectly, a cold baptismal font for disbelief. Coastal winds howl, bringing salt and something older wood smoke and blood rust. Between thunderclaps, you swear longships creak in the bay oars, dipping in sync with your pulse. 3 recorded raids turned Galway to cinder, and 7 more unrecorded, fueling mead hall boasts, now lost to rot. The stall keeper slides a blotchy map across the counter, coastline nibbled, ragged as old lace by dragon-proud teeth. Scrape the coin's edge on a tea stain, hear it shriek, high and wounded. Academia scoffs at haunted alloy, yet lab tests show 8th century Irish silver bears faint mercury traces, possibly from Andalusian, Muslim mines via Viking middlemen, ghost elements sleeping in the metal's lattice, waiting for wet west coast air to wake their voices. Worth less melted, the stall keeper flips the disc, revealing a blob that might be a wolf's head or a cloud. Ye olde counterfeit, but furious in its crudeness. Maybe Allah for himself hammered it, that time his longships limped home under arrow hail. You press it to your cheek, its fever cooled by centuries underground. Tourist shops sell replica arm, rings up the street, machine-stamped aluminum, gleaming without shame. This coin holds its crookedness like a debutante, holds grudges, elegant but lethal. 11 generations back, your village likely burned under that eagle's shadow. Now it warms your palm, bought with crumpled euros from a mint-condition leather wallet. Forgiveness takes 900 years, minimum. He winks, exposing a molar capped with what looks like tin. Outside, the storm retreats, leaving Galway glistening like a reopened wound. You pocket the flawed disc, its edges snagging threadbare denim. A northern king's disgrace, now riding south toward pubs and Wi-Fi. Raindrops patter the final truth against the stall roof. Warriors become traders. Fire becomes eBay. You walk away, carrying someone else's fury pocket change light. The stallkeeper whistles an approximation of Danny Boy, off-key, as the coins serrated history. Streetlights flicker on their orange glow, chasing shadows back into myths, and your souls stop tingling at last. Rain erases the market's noise behind you, leaving only your footsteps and the growling creek beside the path. A fallen oak straddles the water, its roots clawing skyward like arthritic fingers. Something winks in the mud below them, a disk of tarnished silver lodged between stones. You fish it out rougher than the stallkeeper's specimens, its edges chewed by acid soil and time. Rain punches through the bracken, exposing wool fabric, the color of dried blood. Buried half under ferns, it clings to 5 more coins, green-stained and lumpy. Historians document medieval graves with farewell pennies, but these look stitched into the cloth deliberately. Shawl, burial wrap. Rain unknots the threads an inch at a time, revealing a skeletal hand curled around a tarnished needle as long as your pinky. Experts think Gaelic weavers encoded stories in their shroud patterns. Archaeologists found one in Donegal with 100 bone pins arranged like a harp strings. Yarrow clusters bloom near the fabric, violet flower heads mocking your ignorance. Quirky folktales claim yarrow sprigs placed on graves stopped restless spirits from untangling their own shrouds, because apparently eternity's less tedious when you're neatly buttoned up. You crouch lower, avoiding runoff soaking your knees. The cloth dissolves under your breath, letting a coin roll free, grooved with triangular cross-hatching instead of kings or eagles. 14th century forgers near Athlone used this technique, roughing up fake nobles to distract from flawed weight. Historians still argue whether the Irish cloaked their money in intentional ugliness or just had really angry mints. The creek spits pebbles against the oak roots, gentle clacks like loom shuttles hitting stops. Imagine her skeleton weaving underwater, algae thread strung between finger bones, her work never finished. 5 coins total sewn into collar and cuffs. No queen could have afforded that burial unless she paid for it in installments. Scrape one against a rock. It screams Niccolo F sharp, the frequency of scalpels scraping rust. Fringe metallurgists insist Ogham-capable metal hums when wet. Fork-tongued Victorian scholars called it hydromancy for the tone-deaf. Your phone dies just recording it, display blurring into Celtic knots before fading. 3 ravens land on the dead oak, their feathers dripping ink dark as they judge your grave-robbing etiquette. Gaelic market law required burying textile workers under crossroads so their ghosts could keep patching reality's seams. You glance back. The path has dissolved in mist, leaving only ferns and the creek's toothless grin. Another coin, half melted like candle wax, weighs more than a hockey puck. Viking loot, or payment for weaving a warlord's banner, that gory thing that smothered his enemies' campfires. Leather fragments cling to its underside, maybe a purse, outliving its owner by 6 lifetimes. The creek's murmur deepens, shaping Gaelic syllables even you recognize. Ashling meaning dream visions that come wet-feathered and uninvited. Threads snap as you lift the 5th coin, its face scrubbed blank by friction. You rub it twice, shiver, feeling the exact motion mirrored in grass behind you. When you spin, only mist greets you, thin enough to show rain falling upward off the bracken in defiance of gravity. Her needle gleams, still sharp enough to prick your thumb, bloodbead sucked into the creek's chatter. Local pubs joke about tattooing your debts on corpses. Better ink retention. But the red smear fades so fast you wonder who's indebted to whom. Thunder groans west of here, maybe the stall keeper slamming his shutters. The coins warm in your grip, 5 protesters shouting through metal diaphragms. Scholars dismiss sentimental hoarding. Yet Dublin dig sites prove 50% of female burials included spindle whorls, even some with tiny lead weights marked in traitor runes. Work never ends, even when the lungs stop. Bracken rustles, heavy with rain you're not feeling yet. Legends whisper of weavers knotting moonlight into shrouds to purchase quicker rebirth. Dubious metaphysics and worse retirement planning. You pocket the most intact coin, letting the others sink back under deteriorating wool. Ravens hop along the creek bank, pecking furiously at stones that ring like empty tills, the greedy little funeral goers. Your boot tread matches a depression beside the exposed skeleton, which aches with the loneliness of coincidences. Rain resumes its lecture, soapbox preaching about impermanence. Damp wool clings to your thumb, smelling of decayed bog myrtle, an herb no modern perfumer dares replicate. 5,000 footsteps north, tourist dig sites display sanitized fibulae and torques, but none let you inhale the true breath of the unremembered. The weaver could have spun this wool lighter than spider silk, or stiff enough to block winter knives. A ballad recurs in Galway pubs, Marin of the unbreakable threads, featuring a lass who sewed clouds into sails so her lover's ship never drowned. Historians still argue whether Marin's real grave lies under Drimnog Castle's car park. But negligence notices clutter bulletin boards about unattended excavations there. Dirt sluices over the coins, turning their whispers brown. Chilly numbness crawls your wrist, right where the needle pricked you. 11 generations back, whoever she was, her profession mattered more than her name. Now trade winds push you uphill toward village lights that gash the twilight. Prying eyes weigh your pocket, the coin inside pulsing like cheated hearts. If ravens talk, they'll snitch to the stall-keeper before dawn. Your shadow stretches 6 limbs heroic or hallucinatory, as slippery as her identity. Bell chimes float from St. Nicholas out of tune, probably hung wrong after cannon fire in 1691. Women invented money riots there, throwing weighted silk purses at tax collectors during the worst famines. Your fingers brush the coin, threads of a dead woman's labor spun into disc form. Her final invoice, stamped not paid by every storm since. Don't look back, folklore nags, but you do. The creek still sings, the oak roots comb moonlit fog, the grave exhales its final secret. Coins shine beneath retreating water like fish scales, winking goodbye. Blue sparks flicker in the silt, where they lie electric or fey, either way out of reach now. Your thumb finds the newly stolen coin's roughest edge, a lip curled in judgment, or maybe relief that stories fetter as hard as silence. Vapors rise from pavement cracks, prompting the drunkest possible thought that weavers invented memory itself, tightening loose threads frayed across centuries. So walk. The town square beckons with neon, a different hunger gnawing the air. One accountant still works late, his laptop glow, match striking the cafe window. You balance the coin on a pub's iron railing, step back, watch rain smudge its troubled history into sidewalk grime. 1,400 years, gone in 20 steps. Her needle pricks again, this time inside your ribs, marking the spot where future diggers might find your forgotten treasures. Maybe a house key or half a stick of gum. The stall-keeper's finger jabs air, crooked as tree roots, toward your throat. His tea-stained teeth gleam under moth-chewed lanterns. Sing for it, he rasps, wind rattling the stall's wooden boards like a captive audience. You glance at the coin in your palm, its eagle wing clipped by a deep scratch. Trade secrets now. Trade, he snorts, knuckles wrapping his counter. That squashed tin's just half the price, the rest's in your windpipe. His shovel-calloused hand nudges a clay cup toward you, reeking not of mint, but fermented elderberries. Historians note Gaelic bards drank this before keening songs. Some manuscripts claim it, attuned breath to underworld currents. Silence stretches a bowstring against your ribs. Outside, 3 drunks murder a sea shanty in Eelskin Alley. The stall-keeper leans closer, spewing fish guts and philosophy. Every coin chirps its birthplace if you wet it proper, but flesh notes smooth the longest journeys. Quirky folklore insists Dublin's oaks absorb human songs, saving them for lean musical winters. You hum a bar, half-hearted brush-off tear, and the nearest wooden beam groans. Warble proper now, or I'll salt your change. His knife scrapes rust between syllables, honed edge catching on plural S's. You cough, start the one air your granny croaked over soda bread, and stall candles gutter blue. An ache blooms behind your eyes, the tune curdling into something jagged. Your throat remembers words you never learned. Siuil a run spills out wrong, each verse rougher than a cat's tongue. Historians still argue whether that ballad hides rebel troop movements or just generations of lovesick farmhands howling at moons. The stall-keeper nods, suddenly solemn, his knife forgotten. Coins tremble in their velvet nests, dancing against gravity's lecture. You hit a high note, musty scales cascade from ceiling beams, mice fleeing the acoustics. His eyes crinkle mirth or malice, fogging the cataracts. Slaint now, that's cracked dirt better than rain. His palm flattens on the counter, inviting you to lower the coin there. You hesitate, watching motes of dust freeze midair around your lips. Was that payment or free entertainment? Both, he chuckles, smacking his thigh. Proper music oils hinge and heart alike. Fringe scholars once claimed ancient Irish monks used chants to lubricate stone hinges, saving sheep fat for pudding instead. The eagle coin glints, lightning trapped in tarnish. His grin widens scratchy as gramophone static. Third verse now, or the oak folk will nag me till Beltane. You exhale sharp, the next line curving upward, a shepherd's call to scattered sheep. One raven flutters onto the stall's roof, pecking splinters in perfect rhythm. The old man joins his voice, gravel-dragged, yet precise. Harmonies, braiding 3 centuries of accents. Your final note hangs, hovers, then shatters into silver crumbs across his ledger. He scoops them into a leather pouch, sliding it toward you with reverence. For the crossroads later, they'll itch for their cut. Wind screams through alley gaps, snapping unseen cloaks. You pocket the pouch, its contents buzzing like hives. Why not just take cash? His laugh shreds your eardrums, hollow and hawk-like. Coppers clink, golds brag, ghosts ignore both. Outside, street lamps gutter painting shadows that squirm. The stall-keeper lights a cigar, match flare crow's footing wrinkles. You know penalty for unpaid song debts. He inhales, smoke pooling around moth wings, then winks. 14 years of requests from neighbors' brats. Rain drums fresh insults on rooftops as you step into the grinning dark. His voice chases. Mind the high B-flat next time it bites. The pouch hums against your thigh, a chorus of ants marching toward some buried throne. Salt air whips your cheeks, promise and requiem, spinning on one tired axis. Lanterns shrink behind you, their light coughing farewells, as dusk folds its cards tight. A child's jump rope rhyme tangles the wind, voices overlapping your borrowed ballad. You hum against them testing, and streetlights flicker approval cheap conductors for cheaper symphonies. The pouch's buzz deepens, an underground river tunneling toward unlit hollows, each step straying further from where songs live politely. Shutters bang Morse warnings, or just drunken, wood relaxing after rain. Your shadow stretches, thins, dissolves against wet bricks, a melody unsung since wars had better acoustics. Damp cobblestones slur your footfalls, another rhythm contesting ownership. The coins scratch itches, infinitely patient, waiting for night to peel back breakfast plans. Street signs creak arrows, never pointing toward homes that remember your pitch. Would your granny grin or grab a spoon? Hearing her air, twisted into bargain basement begin. Wind tugs at the stolen pouch, hungry harpist plucking loose threads. As you duck beneath a gutter's cold tears, 50 steps remain to your rented room, each one a vinyl scratch on dawn's impatient tongue. A stray cat yowls, off-key, a jazz solo for dumpster diners. You echo its cry, pocket buzzing back, proof every howl inherits older debts. Grand's ghost might curse you, laugh, or request royalties from beyond where choirs drown in better gin. Dawn leaks over rooftops, grease-gray and hesitant, as wooden carts creak into the square. Turnips spill from frayed sacks, their purple skins still caked with last night's mud. You smell their earthy lies before vendors even shout, every root polished to false perfection, since Roman markets demanded cosmetic veggies. A beet-faced man waves a parsnip like a scepter, plucked fresh from Saint's own garden, his fingernails blackened by holy, unholy soil. You sidestep his sermon, ducking under a sagging clothesline where wool socks steam like guilty consciences. That's when you spotted the gap between baker's oven and brewer's vat. Cobblestones tilt downward there, moss swallowing their edges, into an alley barely wider than your shoulders. Historians note medieval towns often had these shadow lanes, unofficial exchanges, thriving where tacksmen feared to tread. Your stolen pouch hums against your hip, a Morse code suggestion. You slip sideways, sucking in your stomach, as dawn's glare snuffs out behind you. Cold licks your ankles, cellar breath rising through cracked stones. Lanterns sway ahead, not honest candle flame, but bioluminescent fungi jammed into jam jars. They pulse green, then blue mood lighting for transactions best forgotten by lunchtime. Figures huddle under cloaks stitched from Is That Lichen? Bartered items glint on moth-eaten blankets. No shamrock keychains here. A woman offers what seems to be a wolf's milk tooth until it squirms between her fingers. Nightcrawler grub, she croaks, cheaper than alarm clocks. 3 stalls down, a teenager peddles bottled twilight, swirling ink-dark liquid that slaps the glass. Quirky diarists once claimed Dublin's alleys sold curses as tea cozies, and squid ink as writing fluid for forbidden vows. You pause before a table manned by, well, maybe man's not the word. The vendor's gloves extend past his elbows, stained with something that winks under fungal light. Interested in crossroads dirt, he nudges a thimble-sized urn, guaranteed from sites where poets bargained, or just horse manure. Results vary. Your pouch vibrates, hot now, pulling you toward the alley's throat. You pass a hunched crone weighing moths on brass scales. Memory dust prices doubled since breakfast. She warns through a curtain of braided beard. At the dead end, a stall draped in rotting tapestries. Its keeper wears a mask of Are those dried eels? He gestures to his wares, 3 items laid on wolf pelt. Leftmost, a rusted bell, no larger than a thumbnail, rang inside Cromwell's boot when he marched. The mask crackles. Or maybe a goat's collar. Histories shy with receipts. Middle, a vial of liquid moonlight. That's the sales pitch anyway, likely phosphorus and wishful thinking. But the third item, a lead coin stamped with an owl missing its head. Your own eagle coin burns in response, nesting pair reunited after centuries apart. Historians still argue whether such ghost tokens were lost gambling chips or payment for unspeakable midnight services. 5 stories, hisses the mask, or one real good scream. Your hand drifts toward the owl coin, not touching, just hovering over its sad stump neck. The stall keeper tilts his head, eels curling into smile lines, or 3 truths you've never told, adjusted for inflation, o' course. Behind you, a commotion. 2 shadow dealers wrestle over a jar labeled Dragon Sneeze. Its contents, burbling mustard yellow. One combatant's hood falls back, revealing a rather normal accountant face. Disappointing, really. The owl coin trembles, leaping into your palm like a toad toward pond scum. Cold sears your skin, different from the eagle's bite, all hollow bones and mouse blood. No singing. You smirk, shaking the stuck coin. Thought that was standard payment round here. Voices draw guards, he snaps, and hungry things that audit louder than taxmen now pay up. You open your mouth, first lie already cued when the pouch at your hip explodes in sound. Not the honeybee hum from before, a gale trapped in a seashell. Silver dust sprays your trousers, disco dandruff from that cursed lullaby you sang earlier. Good enough. The mask chuckles, sweeping glitter into a tin. They do love recycled tunes, cheap drunks. Your fingers close around the owl coin, its edges gnawing at calluses. The marketplace murmurs, a low tide of whispers, as dawn proper invades the alley's mouth. Fungal lamps dim vendors retreating, folding their crimes into handkerchiefs. As you turn to leave, the masked man lobs a final whisper. Polish 'em together, eagle and owl. Either starts a war or ends one. Receipts lost either way. Dawn's fingers pry at the alley, shaming bottles back into glass, worms back into metaphors. You clutch both coins, owl and eagle, their feud silent now, but far from settled. The pouch hangs limp, empty of glitter, yet still warm with stolen acoustics. Market carts rattle outside, turnip kings crowing fresh lies to tourists. Sunlight hits your face, sudden and rude, blinding you to the alley's retreating secrets. Make absolutely sure no metadata or commentary. Sunlight hits the coins in your palm. They hiss like grease on skillet iron. Daylight turns the alley's magic into cheap theater paint, purple fungus. Now just mildew, bottled twilight, revealed as motor oil with glitter. You tuck your prizes away fast before they dissolve into metaphors. The main market guffaws at your seriousness. Turnips gleaming with polish, tourists haggling over plastic harps. A teenager flosses his teeth with shamrock ribbon authentic famine-era floss. His smirk stickier than candy apples. You slip past, coins buzzing against your ribs, their argument muffled by denim. Their chill seeps through fabric, a creeping numbness that isn't pain. War bred this ache, this metal centuries back, when fire ate forests to forge swords. Vikings torched coastal villages, their furnaces, gulping sacred cups and grandmother's brooches. Melted loot became coins like yours, flawed, furious, impatient for new hands. Historians confirm Norse raiders pillaged Gaelic silver to mint their dangeld, protection, money paid in stolen holy metal. Your thumb rubs the eagle's thunderbolt, still warm despite the icy bite. Quirky tales claim certain coins hold battlefield screams, compressed into the metal like insect remnants in amber. You press it to your ear, half expecting war horns, and catch only your own pulse mocking you. Silver's breath fogs your collarbone, where the owl coin rests, a frozen scar taking root. You recall furnace pits where slaves died coughing, their ashes stirred into molten streams for luck. Historians still argue whether Viking smiths added human blood to strengthen alloys, or if that's just grisly poetry. A vendor blocks your path, her apron smeared with jam or arterial spray. Try black pudding ice cream. She proffers a dripping spoon. It's controversial. You decline, already tasting copper at the back of your throat, coins humming their disapproval. The numbness spreads to your elbow. Now, anesthetic tendrils coiling up veins. You duck into a doorway, fumbling the eagle coin, its edges sharp as betrayal. No glorious battle king pressed this disc, just some trembling mint worker paid in rotten cod. Some legends say cursed coins grow heavier. With each sinful owner, yours feels lighter. Dangerous sign. The owl's flat stare accuses you. This wasn't the bargain you expected. Tossing them would be wise, if your fingers would unclench. Shouts erupt by the turnip carts. Someone spotted fey fungi in the mayor's salad. Distraction time. You shuffle sideways, coins clinking like loose teeth, past barrels of pickled herring, weeping briny tears. Sunset will come eventually. These discs know it, patient as gravediggers. Copper remembers being pulled from mountain wombs. Silver recalls moonlight baptism in stolen river. Together under your shirt, a mismatched couple forced into marriage by your bad decisions. Tourists surge toward a genuine leprechaun trap. Exhibit, its plywood already warping. You escape into a side street, coins sighing relief, away from daylight's interrogation. Their whispers return, older now, less like voices, more like creaks in an unsailed ship. One truth surfaces, uninvited. Metals live longer than gods. Your coins witnessed torchlit markets where men traded daughters for bronze nails. Now they lounge in your pocket, bored deities, waiting for you to become interesting. Your neck prickles where silver touches skin, the owl's verdict chilling sweat to ice. You imagine handing it to the next wide-eyed tourist. Carry a cursed relic for only €10. They'd pay extra for the story. Wind scrapes trash cans along the gutter, a sound like coins rolling downhill. You check your pocket, both still there, nesting like stoic adders. They'll outlast you, these metal ghosts ready for the next fool's palms. The numb arm hangs heavy weighted by ancient grievances. Doctors might call it neuropathy. You know better. Battlefield spirits cling to their metal homes, itching for fresh wars. Market noise dims behind you, replaced by seagulls bickering over chips. Salt air scratches your throat, tastes like Viking oars slamming into forgotten beaches. The coins grow warmer, approving their edges, softening against worn denim. You reach the quay, where fishing boats yawn nets piled like gray linguini. Fishermen gut mackerel scales, glittering like discarded coin flakes, while radios croon static-laced pop songs. One coin hums, eagle flexing its wings against your thigh. You'll bury them tonight under rowan roots, or let them bury you. The debate continues, silently, as gulls scream unanswered above diesel-slick waves. Blood cools, metal cools slower. You stand very still, feeling the scar on your neck pulse, counting the centuries until stillness wins. Your fingers trace the etching, not Celtic spirals or Norse runes, but jagged hatch marks a bored thief once carved. Rosemary specks cling to the grooves, crushed centuries ago, still pungent enough to prickle your nose. This coin sailed secret routes, hidden in axle grease, or sewn into salted cod, now lying quiet in your hand like a retired spy. Market noise fades behind dockyard clatter, ropes slapping mast wood, chains clanking in iron throats. Fishermen gut their catch nearby, mackerel guts spilling silver. But you smell only rosemary and old fear. Port cities always nursed shadow trades, Constantinople to Dublin, where stamped metal whispered deals, no ledger recorded. Mainstream relics bore historians, your scratched up prize thrills them. Underground ports thrived behind official docks, smugglers unloading spices, 1 minute, stolen, saints' bones the next. The marks might be a tally, or gang codes, or just some drunken deckhand's boredom. Quirky collectors swear rosemary preserves secrets, crushing the herb into coin crevices to mute ghostly informants. You rub a green fleck, it powders into dust, releasing a medicinal tang sharper than dockyard brine. Thief marks, scoffs a net mender beside you, her knife peeling scales like tiny coins. My gran swore pirates filed their teeth with those edges to bite through ropes during escapes. She spits, a gleaming arc hitting harbor scum. But she also talked to seagulls, so. Wind rasps across the bay, carrying diesel stink and older things. You tilt the coin's sunlight, catching one particular scratch. It winks, a twisted A, or maybe an anchor. Graffiti or owner's mark. Historians still argue whether these etchings guided stolen goods back to crime lords or warded off Kraken attacks at sea. Salt crusts the lettering, each scratch a miniature trench holding ocean memory. Mediterranean voyages, North Sea squalls, this little disc endured gangrene-infested holds and mutinous crews. Now it endures denim lint and your damp palm. Irony tastes like rosemary residue, bitter then sweet. The net mender eyes your coin, her blade pausing mid-scale. Careful scratch your name, and it echoes in smuggler's tunnels forever. She grins, gold tooth catching light, unless you want dead men borrowing your luck. Rosemary ghosts haunt your thumbprint, staining skin with herbal regret. You consider flinging the coin into oily waves. Let some bored cod claim it. But your fist stays shut, protecting its weight. This little scratched-up witness. Tourists click cameras at painted fishing boats, oblivious to real history rusting in gutters. Their sneakers avoid fish guts. You avoid explanations. Coin collector, folklore nut, grave robber. Labels dissolve like rosemary in rain. 3 boys kick a soda can, its rattle mimicking loose change in pockets. They eye you smirking at adults who stare at trash. One shouts pirate gibberish, swinging an imaginary cutlass, until his friends drag him toward ice cream stands. Your coin grows warm, ashamed, or amused, reacting to bad pirate impersonations. You slide it back among its fellows, 11 refugees from forgotten purses. Together, they clink like a jury debating your fate. Rosemary's sharpness fades, replaced by something muskier, earth now not sea. The dockyard blurs. Oak groves rise in your mind, roots cradling dead sailors' loot. You shake your head, but the vision holds dank soil under fingernails, fox fur wrappings dissolving to mold. The net mender whistles sharp as a bosun's command, startling you back to diesel reality. Watch your pockets. Wind steals lazy coins here. She eyes the bay. Happened to my uncle's wedding ring. Now it sleeps with shipwrecks and knickers. High tide slaps the harbor wall, waves chewing stone like hungry creditors. Fishermen's radios blare tinny love songs. The net mender sings along, off-key vows of forever drowned in seagull shrieks. You walk away, coins murmuring, their scratched arguments softer now. Near the fish auction shed, crushed rosemary blooms again, tiny purple corpses in concrete cracks. You kneel, smearing green gold pollen on your coin. Speak or stay silent, your choice. It burns cold briefly, then goes dormant. Some truths mold better, unspoken. Silver ships rotting under peat, cross-eyed kings minting coins to pay imaginary armies. Your scratched disc winks, keeping its worst tales folded tight. Rosemary won't save you, but it smells nice. Damp creeps up your jeans, dock mist claiming another victim. You count your coins, 11 thieves blinking in sudden light, and turn toward town. Buried metal calls from under church walls and pub cellars, but the nettle beer sign flickers, promising temporary numbness. Your thumb finds that twisted A again, a map, a warning, a doodle. Maybe all 3. Historians scroll through databases. You've got sailors' graffiti haunting your palm. Which scholar sweats more? Rosemary fades with the first pub door slam. Warmth spills onto the street, along with fiddle music and potato stink. You pocket the coins, their language reduced to muffled clicks, thieves' gossip ignored until moonlight. They'll scratch their truths into your dreams instead. The stall keeper crumbles dried yarrow over your coin yellow, dust like stale sunshine settling into its grooves. He hums, a tuneless drone, as midnight chill nips your collar, unless you want their whispers. He mutters, rubbing the herb until silver bleeds greenish gray. His breath hangs in lantern light, sour milk, and wet slate, reminding you church crypts smell cleaner. Outside, wind scribbles nonsense on market tents, the edge of a laugh buried in gusts. Glass rattles somewhere too regular for nature, like teeth chattering in a frozen skull. Mainstream history books ignore this part. How every Gaelic market once sold more than turnips and curses. 9th century ledgers list sorrel leaves, foxglove roots, whole baskets of yarrow bought by trembling hands. Even monks stocked it, despite their cross scowls. When fever dreams outprayed psalms, he taps your coin, now wearing a herbal mustache. Thing about ghosts, floorboards creak underfoot, a sharp retort from below. They love shiny listeners. Yarrow's bitterness invades your nostrils, an earthy slap, overwhelming mildew and old apples. You fight a sneeze, civility wars with haunted logic. Best not spray, an anti-ghost remedy mid-application. Tourist pamphlets claim yarrow stops bleeding. Knights packed it in battlefield pouches beside filthy bandages. Quirky locals swear it muffles the dead. Tuck a sprig under your pillow to mute midnight lectures from great Aunt Ethna. You watch pollen drift, feeble shield against centuries of gossip. This coin probably attended witch burnings, royal beheadings, bad lute concerts. Now it's your problem. Never paid Merched Mac Flain, the merchant croaks, nodding at the treated coin. So he lingers sour about wages, lurks in attics counting cobwebs like coin piles. Historians still argue whether Merched Mac Flain was a real tax collector or just a fairy tale bully invented to scare lazy taxmen. The floor creaks again, aggressive now, suggesting Merched leans toward real and underfoot. You pocket the coin, herbs clinging to linen, a chlorophyll-scented argument starter. Across the stall, a child's sock puppet lies abandoned, one button eye dangling. It winks at you, or the yarrow dust just tickles. Either way, you step back. Try singing, the merchant suggests, jerking his thumb toward the ceiling. One joke about off-key show tunes dies on your tongue. The rafters rattle like a caged beast responded. Coins shiver in their display case, a metallic whimper scraping your nerves. Essays on spiritual resonance never mentioned this. Cheap theater effects from beyond the grave. Thunder groans, though the moon glares clear through ripped canvas. A dry night playing tricks. You recall bovine ghosts supposedly trail storm clouds. Irish farmers once blamed yarrow shortages for stampeding phantom herds. No cattle here, just unseen feet pacing the storage loft, impatient as a drunk waiting for last call. The merchant offers a cloth bag, dangling it like fish bait, extra for your threshold, unless angry bards visit often. You decline, pushing images of yarrow-stuffed doorframes from your mind. Your landlord already hates the fern you nursed through winter. A haunted herb garden would spike the rent. A moth dive bombs the lantern, wings brushing your ear, brief scream, dissolving into flight. You check your coin, no new scratches, but the yarrows dulling already. How long until Merchad invoices your procrastination? The merchant licks his thumb, presses it to your palm, leaving a damp star. Lucky 7 days, then he'll audit your breadcrumbs. Dawn sneaks in gray fingers, prying through tent flaps, exhausted-looking pigeons, replacing night specters. The merchant yawns, bones popping like twigs underfoot. He hates cockerels, your morning alarm's free armor. You walk out, coin buzzing softly yarrows, last stand against spectral nagging. Your pocket weighs like a held breath. Market stalls rattle open cheery shouts, burying midnight secrets under cabbages and gossip. You pass a baker, shoving loaves into ovens, his tune suspiciously close to fair Ethna's lament, and speed up. The coin stays silent, herb-drugged into submission for now. Your palm cups 11 coins now, each snatched from separate graves, their weight uneven as grudges. Dull metal presses flesh, icy here, fever-warm there, like arguments between dead kings. Together they tug, persistent as estuary tides claiming stolen things. You flex your wrist, fighting gravity's greedy pull toward mudflats where forgotten rivers sigh. Morning crowds jostle past, oblivious elbows swinging baskets of leeks and peat bricks. Your arm dips, coins voting southward their anchor draft, nearly tripping you over cobbles. Graceful, you mutter, earning side-eye from a nun tightening her wimple. You fake, inspecting a turnip, letting its dirt hide flushed cheeks. Catholics buried gold for martyrs' passage fees, though they'd faint seeing how you handle sacred bribes. The stall-keeper's place shrinks behind you, tarp, flapping like a moth-bitten curtain. His last gift prickles your thumb, a yarrow rash blooming where he spat for luck. Now coins squirm, their edges gnawing linen, silver grown restless, without ghostly chaperones. 11 debts owed, 11 stories, itching toward open water. Estuary brine hangs thick, a salt-scrubbed promise over fishmongers' shouts. You dodge a puddle, reflecting clouds bruised purple as burial shrouds. Hoards like yours once dotted this coast, Viking silver tucked under hearthstones, when dragon prows shadowed shorelines. Historians still argue whether panic hid those caches, or if soil itself hungered for tribute. Your boot sinks into muck, too close to riverbank reeds. Coins hum in agreement. One coin flares hot, brief furnace kiss against your thigh, then chills like guilt. You recognize its face, sort of twin, eagles melted featureless during some long ago sacking. 9th grade history forgot these details. How a chieftain's ransom bought 3 navies and still left enough slag for peasant bribes. Boys in your class traded Pokemon cards, less bloodstained maybe. A gull swoops, screeching loan shark demands, as tide creeps over weed-slick steps. Fishermen mend nets nearby, fingers weaving quick as cloak-turning thieves. You count coins through fabric, each dent a war wound, or a love bite who's judging. Iron Age wives tucked such tokens under tongues, silly hope to sweet-talk fair men into free passage. Bet it failed, judging by the whites still hitching rides on trawlers. Rain spits, needle sharp, as you crouch where water licks stone. Coins tremble, yearning for the suck of mud, their grave dirt memories calling kin. Number 8 buzzes loudest, that Ulster penny, pried from a weaver's coffin-rod grip. You remember her shroud threads tangling your nails, roots gossiping through her ribs. What tune would she demand now for abandoning her grave gift to current's clutch? A tourist snaps photos upstream, oblivious, as you palm the coins, their edges whispering run off, run under. Quirky fact from some pub bard, estuary silt hoards curses, like wine stains gulps down bad luck. With every drowning, you roll the hottest coin between fingers, its Roman numerals blurred by sweat or seawater. Let historians debate Nero's taxes. Your ledger counts breaths before the plunge. Silt clouds your reflection, water brown as bog tea swallowing sky whole. 11 weights grow heavier pregnant with unspent vengeance or unpaid wages. One slips, hitting a rock with bronze whimper before tide claims its shine. 10 left, not enough, your hand feels lighter and lonelier. Mud bubbles below, hungry for the rest. Gulls laugh, ruthless accountants tracking your debt, while salt crusts your lips like unfinished vows. You almost follow the coin down, boot toe, testing slick algae, but cold jolts up your spine. 10 tongues hiss, not freedom betrayal. Graves reclaim what rivers steal they warn, and hungry dead don't forgive dropped tithes. Wind shoves you backward, stumbling into daylight commerce stalls, hawking plastic harps and soda bread. Coins cool, sluggish, guilt tripping you harder than any nun's glare. You count them again, under market buzz, checking for green corrosion or ghostwriting. Just metal dull and patient, weighted with tomorrow's high tide. Mud still streaked your boot treads from the estuary, dried into cracked constellations, matching no known sky. 10 coins remained, each pulse a different tempo against your ribs. As you faced the stall-keeper's yellowed grin, he jerked a thumb toward the alley's gloom, where tourists never wandered, knuckles brushing a cracked dolmen fragment propped against burlap sacks. Empty spaces call louder than bellies, he rasped, tapping the stone's rain-worn hollow. You rolled a coin across your knuckles, an old habit from bus stops and nervous waits. Milk seems pricey for haunted real estate. His wheeze might have been laughter, or a lung cursing the damp. 3 kings sleep under that field, he jabbed at the dolmen's pitted surface. Neolithic teeth chewing up tractor blades, gulp down diesel, and spit out nails. Farmers here still skirted certain mounds, though historians debate whether they marked graves or just territory lines chalked by dead surveyors. A tourist's phone flash lit the stall's edge selfie glare, glinting off plastic cladog rings. The keeper snarled, hiding the dolman chunk under fox pelts, reeking of attic dust. Quick now. His blade point dented the counter between you. Sweet milk in a clay cup left where the standing stone cracked during Cromwell's tantrum. You raised an eyebrow, skimmed or full-fat ghosts. His blade stilled. Mammoth bones whisper under that dirt, thirsty work, grinding glaciers to pebbles. Archaeologists found tusks nearby, polished into gaming dice. But locals swear the yarrow growing their chokes on anything but Jersey cow cream. Rain thickened, needling your scalp as coins muttered against each other. A tremor climbed your wrist, echoing the keeper's tremor metal, disagreeing on which century mattered most. He leaned close, gumline black as bog oak, and hissed the kicker, "No tithe, no deal. They'll drag your name down where roots strangle coins." You almost spit a joke about lactose intolerance, but the nearest coin flared blue vein cold. 10 voices sighed, dust settling on a ledger older than banks. Time to humor the dead accountants. Dawn's chill lingered as you crouched where fence posts leaned like drunk sentries. The dolman's split face watched, lichen-crusted eyes, tracking your chipped teacup's progress. 3 splashes of milk, warm from the dairy van, pooled in sandstone hollows. "Cheers, Majesty," you muttered, wincing at how sunlight cheapened the ritual. Wind prowled the hedgerow, sniffing for shortcuts, as coins pressed reassurance against your hip. One mainstream fact for your trouble Neolithic traders: lugged these stones 50 miles without wheels or whining. Now you stood knee-deep in nettles, bribing ghosts with organic dairy. Silence stretched starlings, gossiping overhead, until the cup cracked clean down its glaze. Milk vanished, not spilled, sucked into rock pores with a satisfied slurp. Your turn to cough, startled knuckles whitening around the eagles still sleeping in your pocket. Told you they're picky. The stall-keeper materialized behind a hawthorn grin wider than a rent demand. He flicked sheep's wool from his sleeve, stained yellow by something not butter. Now your metal's clean, ready for spending or denying. Historians still argue whether Bronze Age kings collected taxes or just scared the wheat out of folks. Walking back, coins jingled a half-remembered war chant, edges softened as if filed by phantom bankers. You passed the dairy van, its driver chuckling at your muddy knees, and almost missed the keeper's final whisper, "Next moon, leave cream." Your thumb rubs raw against the coin's edge, remembering the stall-keeper's final wheezed warning. Rowan trees thrive 3 paces uphill, their scarlet berries glistening like fairy necklaces left too long in dew. You crush a fistful, staining your palm the color of old wars, and wrap your treasure in wool torn from a spring lamb's stillbirth. The bundle feels wrong, like holding someone else's heartbeat, twitching as moonrise licks the tin roof above. Shovel meets damp soil, where oak roots knot the hillside, each thrust jostling pottery shards and worm kings. Folklore claims rowan berries blind grave robbers, though your phone's flashlight seems unaffected. Mainstream archaeology disagrees. Rowan wood coffins were standard for chieftains, their tannins preserving bone better than oak. You wonder if that's why Vikings avoided raiding groves where the berries grew riotous. Respect, or fear of ghosts chewing through their longship hulls. The hole deepens, fjord cold air seeping up as you tuck the bundle against a root shaped like a sleeping wolf. Clods of dirt hiss, secrets against your jacket. Folk museums display similar caches, Roman coins swaddled in votive cloth, their owners dead before retrieval. Historians still argue whether hoards were buried for safekeeping or as offerings to gods who prefer their gold tangled with roots. Lamb's wool tickles your wrist, unspun filaments catching on calluses. Shepherds once believed wrapping coins this way muted their song, preventing bandits or tax collectors from hearing treasure dreams. You press your ear to the earth, half expecting muffled lullabies, but only distant tractor engines hum across the valley. That quirky belief cost extra at the stall. The keeper swore blind lamb's fleece held purer silence. Your back protests, straightening as wind bustles through the rowan branches. Rain's first drops smack your forehead, each one echoing the tink of metal settling underfoot. 6 feet down seems excessive until you remember Cromwell's men once dug shallow, filling their pockets with melted down saints. Your shovel mimics desperation, fast now, hiding evidence before the storm scrubs moonlight from the field. Clay clings to the wool, streaking it gray as a Dublin sidewalk. Retailers sell reproduction, lambs, wool pouches online. Authentic cursed coin storage. 5-star reviews from larpers who have never felt real soil hunger. Your bundle resists burial, twisting in your grip, weight shifting like mercury in a tilted vial. 2 jokes occur, neither funny, but the shovel silences both. Mud packs tight over the coin, thumps firm, with the spades flat. Hiding becomes forgetting, becomes losing. Pebbles patter downhill your breath, fogging the rowan's bark when you lean close. Guard it well, you whisper, feeling absurd, dirt already caking your tongue. No shrine marks the spot, no stacked stones, just memory's fraying thread. GPS pins lie metal detectors, whimper near iron-rich soil, treasure maps delaminate in attic damp. You chose well, maybe, or doomed some future farmer's plow blade to shatter on forgotten wings. Walking away, your palm tingles where the coin last touched skin. Roots whisper comforts or threats, too blurred to parse. Lightning forks, white hot, etching the hill's silhouette onto your retinas. One truth glows in the afterimage. All treasures yearn for rediscovery. Yours just asked nicely first. Rain slaps the tin roof above, 3 warped coins warm in your palm. Heat twisted their metal features, smeared like wax, altars left too close to candles. Noses liquefied, eyes became silver rivers, mouths gaping at whatever fire stole their names. Roman emperors faced damnatio memoriae. The stall-keeper once rasped, their statues hammered to dust by decree. Yet these look accidental, furnace rage, not ordered forgetting. Historians still argue whether melted hoards meant royal disgrace, or thrifty smiths reusing flawed discs. Your thumb traces the highest brow, once proud, now a boiling silver wave. Some collectors swear heat warps truth sharper than time. A king's sneer made crude, a smuggler's grin refined into nobility. Online forums whisper about effigy curses, melting portraits to spite the dead. Museums display better preserved frauds, hedge witches stamping coins with chicken bones and vanity. These three snarl silently faces, lost mid-sentence. One might have been a queen, her jawline echoing Gaulish warrior coins, dredged from Loire mud. The second's crown melts into ram horns, or maybe rabbit ears, history's Rorschach test. Third resembles nobody, just sorrow and slag, as if the fire wept while consuming him. Local bards sing of Cromwell's men, that familiar taunt. Soldiers fueled campfires with sacred wood, casually roasting loot in cooking pits. Maybe these portraits bubbled while redcoats laughed over looted ale. Or some Gaelic smith's revenge, tossing a tax collector's likeness into bronze meant for plowshares. You press the smoothest coin to your cheek, cool now, but the ghost of heat lingers. Thermite could scar metal that fast. Your inner nerd whispers, though rebel Celts barely mastered iron. Modern art festivals burn effigies yearly. Does that make you holding art arson or accident? Wind howls through the market's tarp gaps, three melted faces catching lamplight. Maybe great rulers bled into myth, while clever frauds fattened on peasant trust. Only fire treats kings and liars the same. The stall-keeper's laugh echoes, his final jab sharp as blade. Burn a man's image, his ghost learns modesty. Thunder rattles loose tiles overhead, the storm agreeing. Rain taps three wet fingers against the queen's molten cheek, each drop whispering the same unsolved riddle. He folds your hand shut, wet clay, and old iron scent clinging to his palms, three deformed coins trapped inside your fist. Rain hammers harder now, 1,000 tiny fists on canvas overhead, echoing his action. Every coin crosses twice. His throat sounds like mud squeezed through fingers, once into life, once out. Past his shoulder, the storm paints the alley walls gray, a bone-pale shadow where his cart should loom. Your knuckles ache, metal pressing into tendons, memories of Celtic graves gaping under motorways. Workers found a skull last year, mouth filled with corroded coins, payment for Karen, or some older ferryman. Historians still argue whether corpses crossing water demanded bronze bribes or blessings. Online forums claim bone bridges, linked burial mounds across rivers, ghosts needing pocket change for the commute. He taps your wrist, dirt crescent moons under his nails. Found four like your melted kings near Bunratty's old weir, two upstream, two grinning from estuary mud. Skeletons hugged those coins, one clutched so tight ribs cracked around the hand. Metal detectors shrieked, tourists snapping photos of femurs poking through peat. You shift, 3 warped discs digging deeper. 2 generations back, men dragged the Shannon riverbed for Viking silver sluiced from burned abbeys, found only rotted leather, broken oars, a child's woolen shoe squashed flat. Museum placards call it pious offerings. Locals whisper it's cleanup after a massacre. Bards still sing of crows gorging on flood-washed bodies, birds too heavy to fly, black feathers floating downstream like funeral barges. Ever seen a crow bury a coin? His cough sprays tea-scented mist. Old widows claim they stole from graves to pay tree spirits, nests lined with stolen silver. Road crews found a beach stump near Cork, root cradling 17 Roman denarii, no tarnish, beak marks on each edge. Ornithologists blame magpies. Historians cite druid hoards. Your fist tightens around possible bird money. One melted queen in your palm feels warmer. Or is that your blood fighting the metal's chill? You think of pensioners tossing euros into Rome's Trevi fountain, wishes clinking over marble tritons. Same impulse, 2 millennia apart, bribing fate with shiny pleas. Difference being your coins already failed someone. Damp creeps up your sleeves, storm leaking under the stall's tattered tarp, his words slower, now measured. Egyptians placed gold tongues in corpses, tricking judges in death's court. His version's cheaper, a crumpled alloy disc worth less than a ferry ride. Yet here you stand, payment accepted. Archaeology papers debate Anglo-Saxon ghost money, miniature coins buried to confuse grave robbers. Quicksilver flashes in your mind, tiny hands placing fake treasure atop real caskets, laughter muffled under 6 feet of loam. Rub your thumb along the smoothest edge. He mimics the motion showing where 10,000 anxious fingers wore the king's neck soft. You obey, feeling nothing but slick metal, then a faint ridge invisible to the eye. Lines intersect, crude arrow pointing northwest. Crossing tolls doubled during solar eclipses. He grins, chapped lips peeling, sunken eyes reflecting no light. Dead get greedy when the sky blinks. You glance up, tarps shuddering, unable to tell if clouds steal the sun or something darker feeds. 3 coins suddenly weigh triple, almost slipping from your sweat-slick grip. They'd name this section toll for the bone bridge if museums cataloged liminal things. Rain drums a frantic rhythm, time running thin, his breath sour with damp wool and pennyroyal leaves. Bridges collapse if unpaid. He nods toward the alley's end, street lamps flickering weak lemon light through downpour. Better walk fast, new owner. You step into the storm, 3 melted kings, biting your palm each step, squelching through mud that clings like skeletal fingers. Behind his laughter drowns in thunder, a final bargain struck without prices spoken. Wind screams the only epitaph you'll get, twice across, no refunds. Rain hammers your neck, 3 warped coins, burning a hole through your pocket, their weight uneven like skipped heartbeats. You trudge past boarded-up shops, plastic shamrock keychains rattling behind cracked windows, local misery repackaged as souvenirs. Girls once used these alleys for hiding games, their laughter bouncing off stone walls. Now, just puddles echo footsteps. Thunder growls. No, wait, that's your empty stomach, protesting 4 missed meals. You fish a melted queen from your coat, fingering her blurred features. Did noblewomen get migraines from heavy crowns too? Rain blurs the details, her face dissolving further, ancient injustices smoothed by weather and small hands. Archaeologists dig up Roman bathhouses, find kids' scratched game boards onto floor tiles, gambling with stolen coins from daddy's purse. A gutter gurgles ahead, water swirling down a drained twin to the well where Mare Connolly tossed her copper fortune. 13 years old, flaxen braids soaked, chucking her brother's midnight wages into darkness. For a handsome sailor, she'd whisper, wiping peat from her palms. Got a fishmonger with a lazy eye instead, geography being fate's cruel joke. You kneel, pretending to tie a bootlace, press your coin to the iron grate. Once, twice, 3 times it clinks against rusted bars. The rhythm Lord Inchiquin's archers mocked before torching Galway's gates. Historians still argue whether well coins were offerings, mistakes, or kids mimicking gullible adults. That tourist who donated his Rolex to Venice's canals last summer proves nothing changes. Mud oozes into your socks, a century of spit and spilled porter soaked into these cobbles. Beneath the church wall, crisscrossed scratches mark where girls played shove groat with pilfered pennies. Slide copper along a groove closest to the crack winds. Loser braids nettles into the winner's hair. You trace a scar in the mortar, rough under your fingertip. Imagine skirts swishing, wooden clogs clacking victory. Your coin warms despite the downpour, pulse throbbing where metal meets skin. Medieval brats heated stolen coins on griddles, flung them at rivals, blistering palms, and royal mandates. Goldsmiths' daughters got caned for melting dowry coins into dollhouse plates, priorities before patriarchy. A flicker catches your eye, a flash of red wool vanishing round the next corner. You follow, instinct stronger than sense, 3 queens heavy in your pocket. Round the bend, nothing but rain and drooping geraniums. Yet laughter tinkles like coins down a staircase. Old walls hold echoes tighter than secrets. Beneath a flickering street lamp, the gutter vomits up a blackened disc, smaller than yours, royalty reduced to washerwoman wages. You crouch, extract it with pinky and thumb, beer suds still foaming along its edge. Fast food wrappers cling to it, ketchup bloodying Caesar's profile. Some truths won't wash clean. Wind howls through Chapel Lane, whipping rain sideways as you shelter under a collapsing awning. 3 girls materialize in the storm, maybe 10 years old, plastic tiaras askew, backpacks glittering. The tallest shakes an empty Coke bottle, her comrades giggle teal rain boots slapping puddles. Truth or dare, she shouts, smirking at your sodden state. Oi, lady, ever kissed a pirate ghost? Her friend shoves her giggles dissolving into coughs. You remember Belfast docks, rain just like this, waiting for a sailor who smelled of whiskey and rust. He never came, jury's out, whether drowned or disinterested. Better question. You pull your least melted queen, hold her to the street lamp's sickly glow. Ever played shove groat? Blank stares, then recognition flares. The smallest girl digs in her pocket, produces a grimy euro, its harp strings snapped by vending machines. Gran showed me. She jabs the coin against brick, aiming for a crack slim as betrayal. It bounces off, ricocheting into a drain. 3 groans follow its descent. That was my bus fare. Her wail pierces the downpour, a modern tragedy in one act. You offer your found coin, filthy but functional. She hesitates, eyes narrow, then snatches it before wind steals another treasure. This time she licks it first, for luck or germs, stakes her claim beside crumbling mortar. A shove, a scrape, silence. The coin teeters on the edge of victory, Balor's eye wobbling before a fatal blink, then plummets into darkness. Satan's toenails. The kid stomps, a phrase surely borrowed from Granddad's pub rants. You stifle a laugh. Coin tosses, bury disappointment deeper than hope. Her friends produce their own sorry currency, a 50-cent piece, chewed by a dog, a button painted gold, a wrinkled gum wrapper. They huddle, plotting, tufts of hair escaping hoods, always the generals of small wars. You leave them to it, melting queens murmuring in your pocket. Down Whore's Lane, named for long-dead lace sellers, not actual vice. Puddles glitter with fool's gold. A storm drain coughs up your gifted coin, scuffed but smirking. You kick it back toward the girls, karma spun on wet asphalt. Night bleeds purple through clouds, street lamps clicking on like false dawn. You count your queens, still 3, though one vibrates gently, sympathy for lost playthings. Their grooves worn silky, polished not by market haggling, but by fingers sticky with stolen jam, hands too small for the work assigned them. Underfoot, a rusted hinge groans, trapdoor disguised as pavement, leading to who knows where. Dublin's Viking Museum displays a child's shoe, sole worn through, toys buried with bones. Did they play kick the skull between chores, these dead urchins laughing through missing teeth? Your boots pause, earth humming beneath sludge. A pub door bursts, open yellow light, slashing the gloom, shouts streaming like backwash. Don't care if it's haunted, Margaret, that coin's paying your tab. A man hurls a tin mug, metal clattering near your feet. Inside, 8 weary faces turn, then swiftly ignore the drama. You pocket the mug, 3 queens approving the theft. Downriver, where rain meets sea, sails once bulged with stolen timber, and weeping boys sold as cabin boys. Their mothers flung coins after departing ships, half prayer, half guilt payment, metal, disappearing in sea foam. Your coins sigh, aligned north like compass needles, eagles straining toward colder waters. They've known other pockets, other storms, small hands gripping them before bedtime, childish threats whispered under blankets. I'll bury you where the dog can't dig. Promises heavier than gold. Laughter bubbles up again, closer now, the tiara girls splashing toward you. The leader brandishes her recovered euro, filthy but triumphant. Best of 5. She crows, grin gap-toothed as a broken comb. They swarm past, damp wool, and bubblegum scent trailing, sugar-fueled soldiers marching to battles only they understand. You watch them go, palms tingling, where queens once cooled. Sunset bleeds the last warmth over chimney pots, coin-shaped clouds staining the sky bronze. City workers will dredge drains tomorrow, heaving muck into trucks, oblivious to stranded hopes. Your thumb finds the smoothest queen worn by centuries of games, her edges soft as lullabies. The wind carries a final giggle, then silence folds over wet streets, like a coin purse snapping shut. Rain keeps its own counsel, counting seconds, dollars, heartbeats, until the next game begins. The market stalls, awning sags, rainwater pooling in its belly like a drunkard's last pint. 5 girls' laughter still rings in your ears. Yet here stands a different kind of trader. His fingers dance over trinkets, not silver or copper, but a pocket world of fractured things. Button shards, teeth strung on wire, they clatter as he sorts them. One molar gleams yellow as old ivory, another cracked like bad luck. You spy a dog's canine, its root blackened by time or tobacco. Don't ask which owner it outlived. He catches your stare, laces knobbled fingers, a grin splintering his face. Teeth hold stories better than coins, he wheezes, patting a necklace of molars. Roman legionaries paid with these, 3 molars for a night in a proper bed. Historians still argue whether Britons bartered with teeth before Rome's invasion, or just copied their betters. The necklace sways, ivory click-clacking like tiny jawbones. He slides a clay cup toward you. Smell says cheap whiskey, not tea. No steam to blur his features now. Sunken cheeks, nose hooked like a rusted crampon, eyes 2 piss holes in the snow. You take the cup, but don't sip. Dublin's gutter whiskey once blinded 3 dockworkers, or so the ballad wails. Shame about your voice, he croaks, nodding at your throat. Thunder murmurs agreement overhead. Got sandpapered by Belfast fog, didn't it? Sing anyway. A challenge, not a request. You hum 3 warped queens heating against your thigh. The first note scrapes, a ship's keel on shale. His necklace trembles, molars chattering like they want to bite. Legends whisper certain monks could shatter glass. With devotion, your voice just shatters dignity. He slaps the counter, laughter like a grease fire crackling. Beautiful. Now he fishes under the stall, produces an ostrich eggshell carved with spirals. For you, you blink. He shrugs, taps the egg. A hollow knock echoes. Daft Pilgrim brought it back from Egypt, thought Ireland needed more ostriches, traded it for a tin spoon. Fringe scholars claim Bronze Age Celts prized ostrich eggs, though skeletons found near Tara suggest confused chickens. Your fingers graze the shell, cool as a tombstone at dawn. Spirals coil inward, never ending, the same pattern stamped on stones older than Moses. A lullaby bought this, he says, wiping whiskey from his lip. Drunkard's daughter couldn't pay for her dad's bender, sang his favorite until dawn. Rain drums the awning, a rhythm begging for percussion. The egg thrums in your hands, holding echoes of deserts you'll never walk. 3 girls skipped past yesterday with kites. Would they trade giggles for this fragile sky house? A shadow shifts behind the stall, not quite human tall, and sniffing like a hound on a scent. You freeze, eggshell biting your palms. The merchant snaps his fingers. The shape retreats, muttering in no tongue you recognize. Forget him, the old man grunts, rearranging his tooth hoard. Just a debt collector. He winks, revealing a gap where incisors should battle. You've got better worries. Those queens in your pocket, they're sulking. You jolt, hand flying to your coat. He chuckles, a wet sound from deep below. Metal whines when ignored, been listening. Indeed, a faint vibration thrums through the fabric coins, rubbed raw by your own doubt. 17th century Plymouth records tell of singing pennies, haunted coins serenading their thieves into confession booths. Whether mass hysteria or clever beggars, judges' gavels silenced the choir. He leans closer, reeking of damp wool and mushrooms. Trade you them for something useful. A claw-like hand reveals 3 shark teeth, fossil black edges, serrated as betrayal. Found these where Finn McCool spat after biting Scotland. The queens hum louder, protesting the demotion. You shake your head. The merchant sighs, pockets the teeth, pulls out a porcelain doll's arm instead. Its fingers curl, ready to snatch secrets. Everyone chooses wrong first time, he mutters, stroking the severed limb. French lady traded this for a lock of Cromwell's hair, turned out to be her husband's toupee. Thunder growls, louder now, rattling jars of suspicious herbs. Wind whips the awning, snapping it like a ship's sail. He ignores the storm, offers you a bird's skull cupped in moss. Made a lark's ghost nest here, tickles your palm if you listen. Rain sluices down the street, carrying away petals and lost wishes. The queens buzz. One slips into your hand, unbidden, her face worn smooth by generations of fretting. Too many hands have polished her into facelessness, a monarch reduced to worry stone. He studies her head, cocked like a crow judging roadkill. 3rd wife of someone unimportant, melted during a siege. Soldiers drank her crown, pissed her kingdom into a ditch. A truth or a lie, no records name the wives, only the battles won with their dowries. You flip the coin, her edges blurring in the wet air. She's tired, you say, surprising yourself. Wants to rest. The merchant snorts, flicks the queen with a yellowed nail. Rest is for bones, coins want to travel. Drop her, she'll roll to the next fool within the hour. Lightning flares for a second. His shadow looms antlered against the stall wall. Blink, it's just a hunched old man again, counting beads that might be vertebrae. Your pulse thuds in your ears, louder than the downpour. Stories, you say, meeting his watery gaze. I'll trade stories for truths. His grin returns, a cemetery gate creaking open. Finally, let's hear one, none of that saint's drivel, give me a proper sin. So you breathe deep, whiskey be damned, and spin the tale you've carried since Belfast. That rainy pier waiting for a smuggler's kiss, his jacket smelling of gunpowder and cinnamon. How he swore 3 coins would buy your freedom, how gulls laughed at his promises. No heroic ending, just dawn breaking on an empty dock, waves licking rusted chains. When silence falls, his necklace hangs utterly still, molars holding their breath. Rain stitches silver threads between rooftops, the whole world weeping politely. He slides a fragment of mirror toward you, edges wrapped in rabbit fur. Stole this from a witch's cottage, shows you smudged but honest. You glimpse your rain-streaked face, older than yesterday, younger than tomorrow. The queens murmur approval, vibrations gentler now. Somewhere, 3 girls shriek over a 1 coin, joy echoing down soaked alleys. My turn, the merchant rasps, filling your cup again. He tells of a Viking's wife who swallowed her husband's teeth before burial, hoping to chew through hell's gates. Bones dug up near Waterford, stomach full of enamel gums scarred by her devotion. You shiver imagining teeth rasping against ribcage, a love that gnaws its way out. He nods, pleased by your disgust, and produces a lock of hair the color of dried blood. This cost a ducat trimmed with rubies. He twirls the strand, a noose or a promise. Lady sold it for poison. Her portrait still hangs crooked in Maynooth Castle, eyebrows judging the tourists. Wind plucks at the awning, threatening to tear it skyward. He ignores the danger, too busy unfolding tales from his wares. A musket ball that missed Bonnie Prince Charlie, a leprechaun's shoelace, even a desiccated frog, some farmer swore, was a sleeping princess. Your queens grow warm, but quieter now, soothed by the rhythm of barter. Rain cleans the streets, drowning yesterday's sorrows in new puddles. The merchant pockets the doll's arm, his pockets sagging with sorrows and punchlines. When the downpour eases, clouds tearing like old bandages, he gives the ostrich egg one last tap. Take it or don't. I've got better. You cradle the fragile shell, its curves fitting your palms, curious palms that have held too much already. Somewhere, a drunk sings off-key, his voice carried on the storm's last breath. Next time, the merchant says, turning to rearrange his kingdom of fragments, bring a better story. Coins settle stories, folded between them like love notes. You step into the glistening street, egg held like the world's most delicate secret, queens humming a lullaby only storms understand. Moonlight bleeds through the shutters, pooling silver on your rented room's floorboards. You hesitate, then arrange the queens in a circle, each facing outward like paranoid sentries. Their edges catch the light, gleaming briefly with forgotten pride. Cold stone bites your knees as you kneel waiting. Nothing happens. A drunk snores next door, his rhythm almost soothing. 10 minutes crawl by. You nearly laugh at your own superstition when the air thickens. A faint hum starts, not from the coins, from the spaces between them. It deepens, vibrating your fillings as the shadows stretch upward like boiling pitch. Leather flaps whip open somewhere beyond sight. Donkey brays tear the silence apart. 100 hands materialize in the dark, skeletal, desperate, snatching at your ankles. You recoil, spine slamming the bed frame. The smell hits next, rancid butter, tar, vinegar-soaked wool. 16 pennies for Baltic amber, 20 for a two-headed rooster. Rasps a voice like rusted hinges. The hands keep grabbing, passing through solid wood, groping for your coin circle. Their fingers leave frost trails on the planks. 13th century Dublin port records describe ghost markets, night auctions where smugglers traded contraband after drowning. A stall flickers into view inside your circle, yet endless, piled with bruised peaches and lead dice. 2 hagglers argue over a jar of pickled nightingales, their faces stretched like melted wax. You spot a child leading a smoke-gray donkey, its eyes twin pools of liquid shadow. The queens shriek, or maybe the vision shrieks, a metallic wail shredding your eardrums. The tallest buyer whirls, his cloak sewn from moth wings, and points at you. Spy. Chaos erupts. Baskets fly, rotten figs explode against invisible walls, coins roll like furious beetles. One queen leaps into your palm, burning cold, her edge whispering. Run, run, run. You obey, scooping the others mid-scramble, their dreams tearing like wet parchment. Silence crashes back. Your empty circle stares up, innocent as a snuffed candle. No frost marks, no donkey stink, just moonlight again. But your hand bleeds, where a queen bit you, 3 tiny half-moons etched into flesh. Sailors once swore placing cursed coins under pillows summoned hag riders, those who believed woke with bridle marks on their chests. A knock rattles your door, 3 slow taps. The merchant's wheeze seeps through the wood. Heard the market, didn't you? Sounds louder every full moon. You don't answer, press a rag to your weeping palm. He chuckles, the sound slithering under the door like smoke. Don't fret, they'll quiet by dawn. Unless you kept something, you check the queens. All present, but one bears fresh scratches, like frantic claws tried to pry her free. Historians still argue whether medieval ghost markets reflect real hysteria or clever cover for midnight thefts. Wind howls through the window gap, carrying salt and far-off screams. The coins tremble, not afraid, hungry. Beneath your feet, floorboards creak a warning. None of you will sleep tonight. Morning fog licks your boots, soggy wool sticking to your ankles like drowned sheep. North Road stretches ahead, a muddy serpent coiling toward cliffs you feel more than see. The coins hum in your pocket, heavier, since last night's spectral market, their hunger gnawing at your thigh. 3 days' walk, if weather permits. Rain slants sideways, needling your cheeks with ice. You pass bleached dolmens, their capstones balanced like giant rotten teeth. St. Columba's monks scribbled of Viking longships, here first raid, hitting their Iona Abbey like a wolf pack in 795. By noon, Your coin burns through your trousers, a dull fever pulse against your skin. You dig it out, the eagle's wings steaming faintly in the damp air. That crescent moon glows now. Or is it just drizzle catching light? A farmer guides skeletal cows past you, spitting at the coin. Devil's wages, he mutters, crossing himself with a twig-fingered hand. Shame they're not paying extra for scenic misery. You tell the eagle, wiping peat smear off its beak. It doesn't laugh, just throbs hotter. Day 2. The land sheds its green skin, turning to granite ribs and salt-scabbed heather. Wind whistles through cairns, playing the stones like bone flutes. You swear one mound shifts, soil trickling downward, as your coin's hum dips into a growl. Fishers claim old silver drinks memories, hoarding last thoughts of drowned men. You pocket the coin quick, not wanting your despair added to its menu. Nightfall brings worse shelters, a half-collapsed sheep pen crumbling under sleet. You huddle there, gnawing stale oatcake, coins arranged in a defensive ring. Their dreams tonight feel jagged, scraps of war chants and breaking timbers. One fragment surfaces clear, a woman's voice hissing Kyriken into the dark. Historians still argue whether Vikings traded peaceably here first, or if every meeting began with axes. Dawn arrives gray and grudging. The final stretch cliffs explode upward, black rock weeping salt tears. Gulls wheel screaming their cries like rusty nails dragged slate. You climb, boots slipping on kelp-slimed steps, fingers raw from volcanic rock. The coin claws your palm now, twisting toward the sea. Waves far below chew the cliff base, spitting foam, 50 feet high. Sagas mention Salskinmonter sun coins, hurled overboard to calm angry waters. Yours clearly wants back in the fight. At the precipice edge, hollowed-out stone bowls catch rainwater. Offerings, lookouts. Lichen clings like verdigris on bronze. You lean over wind trying to peel you from the rock and peer down. Something winks in the surf, gold winking through the massacre of waves. A ship's rib, a helm. The coin jerks wild as a hooked salmon slicing your thumb. Blood beads rolls, plummets toward the lurching sea. Then the coin stills, suddenly cold, its eagle gazing north. Not at wrecks, not at gulls, toward a sea stack thrusting from the waves, a ragged natural spire. Pillars like that stored pagan bones or marked hidden harbors. Salt crusts your lips, stings your cheeks, your eyes flinch against the razor wind. The coin thrums low, a sound felt in molars as seabirds erupt from the spire. They spiral upward, a screaming tornado, and for 3 heartbeats form the shape of vast wings. Your coin burns white hot and laughs. Thick mist parts around the sea stack. Your hand finds rough granite, knuckles scraping lichen softer than rotted velvet. Above, gulls whirl silent now. The ocean holds its breath. 11 coins burn through your pocket cloth, each tugging toward different mounds along the cliff's spine. Cairns rise ahead, slumped teeth erupting from peat. 9 stone piles, their rocks bleached gray as shipwreck bones. Each crown stone tilts east toward a sunrise they've forgotten. Beneath your soles, the ground thrums, a bass note deeper than the surf's roar. Vikings buried chiefs here, slaves and swords sealing them in, though St. Columba's monks later called it pagan filth. Your left heel sinks suddenly, cold mud swallowing leather. Charging admission would be fair. You tell the nearest cairn, yanking your boot free with a wet smack. No answer, just a coin's edge biting your thigh. The first mound breathes, a sigh of damp soil, escaping cracked stones. You circle it, fingertips hovering over quartz veins, glinting in the rock. Neolithic farmers hauled this white stone across 30 leagues. Scientists cracked their knuckles proving it, laying it on tombs like solid moonlight. A tourist sticker clings to the cairn's base, half peeled, pink neon yelling "Kiss me, I'm Irish." Coins squirm in your pocket, hard as hailstones. You spill them into your palm, their hum snapping to angry buzzes. One copper piece rolls sideways, smoking where it touches a patch of moss. Petty bastards, all kings were, says a voice behind you, the metal detectorist from Derry, camo jacket, stained with tea, stabs his shovel into peat. His gear wheezes, display screen blinking error, input soul. Every cairn here makes compasses dance. Watch. He flicks open a brass compass, its needle whirling faster, then seizing west. Historians still argue whether these cairns were tombs, or if some marked sacred springs now lost. You pocket the coins quick, their heat fading as the detectorist eyes your fists. Iron turns sour here overnight. He spits brown juice, hitting a stone. Brought a shovel last June, next morning, blade flaked apart like gingerbread. He kicks his own shovel, its steel edge pitted with black rot. Your knuckles brush damp rock. One coin surges hotter, pulling your palm against granite. Beneath your touch, the stone vibrates, a rattle of pebbles cascading down. Druids once scattered charged stones at battlefields. This land remembers. A sourceless chuckle echoes, low as shifting gravel. The detectorist freezes, crosses himself with mud-caked fingers, grabs his gear, flees downhill. Soil whispers beneath you, black crumbs trickle from the cairn's cracks. You mimic the stall-keeper's midnight digging, scraping with bare nails. Earth parts, cold air rushes upward, damp wool, and iron stink punching your nose. Something metallic glints, buried shallow under peat. Not gold, not silver. A rusted helmet. You claw faster, hit metal rebound like smacking concrete. Fingertips bruise, blood wells under the nail. The thing underground feels heavy, angry, refusing surrender. You win. You hiss, sucking your throbbing finger, tasting peat and pulse. The coins chill, silent at last. From your pocket, the eagle coin watches, tarnished wings drooping. Kings here fought under bird omens, Odin's ravens, or Christ's doves, depending who chronicled the blood. Below waves chew cliff face, spitting rock shards toward your boots. Sun slides west, orange light bleeds through salt haze. You rise, shovel abandoned iron already flaking. Coins weigh less now, their song muted. Maybe saints breathe easier here than kings. Old world holiness fit new world camo jackets better anyway. Clouds bunch gray fists above the cairns as you retreat toward sheep trails. One last glance. The largest cairn seems taller somehow, capstone aligned perfectly north. Or you forgot its tilt. Wind snatches your collar, shoving you downhill into bracken and forgetting. The coins sleep finally, dreamless, as mud dries on your boots. You'll bury them tomorrow, or they'll bury you. Rain slaps the pub window, each drop hissing against steamed glass. You trace the eagle coin's edge, where peat grime crusts its indentations. That faint scratch near the wing, just a hairline curl, could almost be no. You rub it hard, thumb raw against your jeans. Another pint. The barkeep's rag smears rings of porter into the wood. You flip the coin, its hum drowned by fiddle music. It lands eagle up facing the door. 30 years back, a cobbler in Kerry found a crown marked with a similar A under his donkey's hoof. Academics called it Roman forgery, thieves' marks, or sailor graffiti from coastal skirmishes. The stall keepers chuckle ghosts behind you. Letters aren't always what they spell. You spin, empty stools stare back mothballs, and damp wool hanging in the air. Your nail catches the groove again. This A bends like an Ogham stroke, those old scratch script on standing stones. Scholars still argue whether Ogham marked graves or just property lines for cattle lords. Archaeologists once licked stones to read them, better their tongues bleeding on hidden glyphs. You wouldn't recommend it, even sober. Metal warms. The scratch glints under the pub's sickly bulb, a king's initial. A love token's lazy flourish. One miser from Donegal insisted upside-down letters bound ghosts to coins, so they'd haunt thieves instead of vaults. His journal sold on eBay, waterlogged, for €83.50. You slide the coin beneath your empty glass, haloing it in froth stains. Rain drills harder, puddles rising to claim the threshold. Shadows stretch, gulping the room, until even your hands blur violet in the gloom. That itches in your skull now, a hook dragging through centuries. Suppose it matches your own name, that first stubborn syllable. Anchors snap, chains rattle, whole family trees drown in feud blood. Better to toss this scrap into the bay. Let limpets crust its secrets. But the coin sticks, weighted to your palm. Fiddle notes fray falter as the player packs up. 3 nights awake, chasing cairn whispers, your reflections groan eye bags like storm clouds. Lost something. The barkeep looms, tapping a chipped mug. Eyes stippled with broken veins, he nods at your fist. Not the first clutching old metal here, won't be the last. His keys jingle, sending you toward the chill street. Street lamps gutter orange pools, shrinking from the downpour. You unfold your hand, rain sluicing the coin clean. That a gleams, fresh cut, sharp as betrayal. Whoever carved this died cold, you'd bet. History forgets the hands that hold the chisel. Empires fall, languages crumble, even screams fade. But scratches linger rude and patient, waiting for fools to give them meaning. You pocket the thing, its protest, muffled by denim. Let scholars lick stones, let kings rot nameless. Some stories dig their own graves, best to walk away whistling. Puddles splash your shins, black water mirroring the occasional star. The coins stay mute, dreaming of root and rust, as your boots find the path toward home. Dust powders the air now, all that market bustle gone to rot. Emptied spaces gape, where copper bracelets and fake torques once jangled. You kneel, midday sun pressing your neck, and smooth a hand across the stall's scarred wood. Splinters bite, but no tea steams, no mint scent spins memories. 11 coins shift in your pocket, their edges gnawing denim threads. Tobacco tins rattle loose nails, forgotten by the stallkeeper. Dublin's medieval markets held court right here, vendors flogging turnips and tin under royal watchtowers. Now street sweepers scrub away crumbs, their brooms scratching like mice in wainscot. A torn label flutters, fox fur still clinging to a corner, soot-stained from its velvet nest. You fold it soft, thumbing where teeth once pierced pelt. Historians still argue whether fur-lined pouches preserved coins or just hid them from taxmen's eyes. Rusted hinges groan as you lift the counterflap, darkness spilling from below. His scent lingers, peat smoke and pickled ginger memories' last insult. You half expect that cracknail hand to shove yours back, daring you to steal silence. Under cobwebs, a ledger sprawls, water-stained pages flaunt, doodled eagles. His knife scored the margins. Each moon phase circled each solstice, marked with runes, even scholars mute over. Near Midsummer's Eve 1999, he wrote dance done in shaky capitals. Your shadow swallows the ink. 2 decades melted since those words. 4 teens once tried summoning giants beneath Tara's hill, guided by newspaper clippings and bad cider. Local lore claims they woke only moles, poor diggers tunneling from their nonsense. Sunlight glares off a puddle, a distorted face winking up yours or his. Green patina webs the coins now, your fingerprint ridges dyed teal where you clutch them. Feels foolish, carrying these dead king's bribes like lucky charms. Beneath the stall, a loose floorboard creaks betrayal. You pry it up, splinters needling flesh, and find a nest of butterscotch wrappers. One gleams gold, unwrinkled, its expiry date 6 years gone. Hoarder or hopeful, who squirrels expired sweets with such care. The wind hiccups, fox fur tickles your wrist, an itch as old as barter itself. Oak branches scrape slate roofs, whispering those hiding spots he mentioned. Rowan berries shrivel in rain gutters, useless for your burial plans now. Leaving feels slow, boots scuffing toward the alley where shadow dealers lurk. Your pocket tugs, metal growing colder, as if the coins prefer abandonment. 11 graves reopened, 11 curses shrugged off, 11 chances to chuck them down a well. Remember his warning, the Bonebridge toll. You almost laugh, milk left at Dolman's sounds tame compared to tax audits. Still, your thumb rubs grooves smoothed by long-dead girls' hands, their wishes dust now. Gravel crunches, someone's loaded cart approaches, turnips bouncing like bald heads. You fade right past chained dumpsters to where weeds split concrete. That tavern sign swings, crocodile grinning through peeling paint, souvenir of your first sleepless night here. Coins clink angry bees in a jar as you pause at the bridge's midpoint. Estuary mud glistens below, perfect for hungry anchors, but your fist stays shut, protecting what shouldn't matter. Salt air claws your throat, carrying barks from unseen ships. Halfway home, rain kicks in, needling your collar. You duck under a beech tree, black branches hissing above. Droplets strike metal as you count the hoard again, a miser's bedtime ritual. 10, 11, no, 12th coin winks, tarnished bronze you never pocketed. It nestles in your palm, edges jagged, eagle-eaten by corrosion. No marks, no scratches, no lies to decipher. Some gardener probably lost it last Tuesday digging petunias. You flip it toward the swollen river, one less ghost to babysit. The splash gulps silver, one ripple, then gone. Numbness follows, soles grinding gravel as you turn uphill. Roots will cradle it, or catfish, or nothing at all. Let future fools dredge mysteries from the silt, their tongues bleeding for answers. Your gate creaks, lock resisting, as night leaks across rooftops. 11 coins cool on the windowsill, staring at street lamps. They predate by centuries. Sleep won't come, not with metal humming against glass. So you hum back, off-key bullfrog, serenading the moon. Dawn pries at curtains, dust motes dancing where coins once lay. Floorboards show bare circles, cleaned by greedy sunlight, no trace of green or grief. You pocket lint and house keys, ready for bus queues and blind routine. The market stall squats empty when you pass boarded up until next fool arrives. A single oak leaf drifts, scorched at the edges, toward that hiding spot underfoot. Bury or be buried, he'd croak, while sweeping yarrow ash from his sleeves. Your palm feels lighter, freed of anchor weight, as you board the tram. Reflection glares back, a face smoothed by surrender or theft. Let ravens peck the eagle clean. Let scholars shred their tongues on stones. Some stories end mid-sentence because the teller walked away whistling. Rain returns at noon, washing tire tracks from the market square. Gutter water swirls, carrying fox, fur downstream, past wharves and sewage grates. No one notices, no one could, how 11 ciphers sink through murk, itching to be forgotten. 11 coins gleam wet on the bridge railing, rain blurring their edges into halos. You touch each one, teal stains kissing your thumb before nudging them toward the river's embrace. Muddy water accepts them without sound, swallowing kings and curses alike. Ripples spread, then flatten, as if the estuary sighs relief. Your palm stays open, empty now, letting drizzle rinse away the ghosts. Oak branches sway above, leaves whispering what markets forget by noon. That stall's splintered wood will warp, season by season, until even its hiding spots dissolve into pulp. Someone new will nail fresh planks over the rot, never sensing copper secrets sinking beneath their feet. You walk home slowly, boot soles scuffing puddles, reflection wavering in each one. No eagle-etched ledger page dogs your steps, no butterscotch wrappers crackle warnings, just wet asphalt steadily darkening, and wind combing through your hair like an old friend. Dawn finds your windowsill bare, sunlight drinking the last coin-shaped damp spots. Lint and bus tickets fill your pocket, now ordinary treasures. Downstairs, the kettle sings, its steam drawing crooked hearts on the pane before vanishing. Rain returns at twilight, soft this time, washing tire tracks from the market square. Dank cobblestones glisten patient as always. Somewhere downstream, fox fur tangles around a pier, nesting in silt. Ravens tilt their heads at rusted hinges, but the stories stay folded, tucked under waves, where no tongue can trouble them. Sleep comes not as surrender, but as a quiet agreement with the dark. Your breath evens, matching the river's distant hush, while silt blankets 11 tiny graves. Nothing left to dig up, nothing left to mourn. Just the world turning gentle under a sky that forgets as easily as it rains.